Well, we'll find out about the clinic with Professor Earl Beaver, Chuck Tanner, and the Pirates. And it'll be Kiko Garcia celebrating his 26th birthday today. He'll be followed by Benny Ayala and then Ken Singleton. And Jim Rooker, front and center, the left-hander delivers a fastball for a strike. Jim McKeon of the American League behind the plate. Paul Runge at first. Jerry Newdecker of the American League at second. Bob Engel at third. Russ Getz on the right field foul line. Terry Tate of the National League on the left field line. A breaking ball fouled away, and the count 0-2. Kiko Garcia comes in here hitting .600. He is 6 for 10. In fact, somebody asked Phil Garner about Baltimore. Garner said, well, Garcia is the best hitter I've ever seen. And they said, really? So every time he hits the ball, he's got a base hit. It seems that way. 0-2 to Kiko. Rooker on the rubber, Jim into the windup, and the strike 2 pitch fastball fouled away, so he came with the hard stuff.
He did. He tried to get the ball in on him far enough. He didn't quite get in as far as he wanted to.
You've been in pressure spots in the World Series. Now you're able to sit back and look over those pressure spots. Are you able to realize how important they are, and maybe they're not as important as they seem to be at the time?
Well, Vince, once you went through it, you realize it's only for the moment. There's so many things that are so much more important.
And, of course, for Chuck Tanner, he did not have to be reminded about that. His mother passed him away early this morning, and that certainly put what they call this big game in its proper perspective. The strike 2 pitch to Kiko Garcia, high and outside. Ball 1-2.
You know, Vince, I was thinking during the national anthem with Charlie looking at him down there, right at that moment, he could care less about a World Series game. He realizes now the only thing that's important is the people you really love.
1-2 to count to Garcia. Rooker delivers breaking ball, but not much snap to it. It was way up and outside. Ball 2, 2-2. The Orioles come in here with a team batting average of .266. And would you believe the Pirates are hitting .329? And as they say on Broadway, how'd you come out? 2-2 the count to Garcia. Rooker ready, delivers good breaking ball, hit down the right field line, foul and out of play. Certainly in this sequence, that's the first good curve he's thrown.
Yeah, early, if you're going to get Jimmy, I found out that the first couple innings he'll hang some curveballs. After once he gets in the groove, though, then after he gets past the second, he normally gets good success with his breaking ball.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Garcia. Kiko with a half a dozen runs batted in. 6 hits, good for 10 total bases. He has a couple of doubles and a triple. The right-hand hitting shortstop who has really been discovered in this series. The 2-2 fastball is fouled away. Boy, it will be tough for Belanger or anybody else now to move this kid out of there.
Well, I think Mark realized this year the one thing. He worked a lot with Garcia, and he'll continue to work next spring and all next year with him. Mark could care less if Garcia is ready to take over. Mark Belanger's been such a pro, Vinny. All he wants is the best guy out there for the time.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count to Garcia. Rooker ready, delivers. Breaking ball, fisted behind the mound. It's going to be a caught by Rooker over the shoulder. So Jim Rooker, like an end going into the end zone, making the over-the-shoulder catch as Garcia was jammed. 1 away, and Benny Ayala coming up. Ayala, 2 for 2 in his last appearance, if you remember, against Candelaria. He had a home run, 2 runs batted in. So what the Orioles figure they might lose defensively, they appear to feel they will make up more than enough offensively with Ayala and Renicky instead of Bumbry in center field and a Lowenstein in left. I think we'll go back and have a refresher course on some of these hitters, Sparky, as Rooker ready and his first pitch to Ayala is low and inside, ball 1.
Ayala's a high fastball up over the plate hitter. He likes the ball from the middle in. You can get in off the plate inside, but from the corner, the inside corner of the middle, he loves the ball up.
The 1-0 pitch is low, ball 2, 2-0. 1 out, first inning, no score. Just the start of things, so pull up a chair and spend part of Sunday with us. Is the 2-0 pitch to Ayala. Fastball in there, 2-1. Steve Nicosia behind the plate. Stargell, Garner, Foley, Madlock, Robinson, Marino, and Parker. No surprises. The 2-1 pitch, fastball, hit to the left of Foley. Tim is up with it, straightens up and gets it.
I was surprised that he had Ayala with 2 balls and no strikes. He's definitely a great fastball hitter. He just stood there and took it. He was taking all the way.
So now Ken Singleton with 2 out in the first inning coming up. Singleton one of the big guns, has lived up to his advanced reputation. As far as his batting average is concerned, he is hitting .412. He has 2 runs batted in. Singleton takes a breaking ball on the inside corner for a strike. You want to keep the ball in on him?
No, Singleton, right-handers like all switch hitters. He loves the high fastball, right-handed, left-handed. He's a down and in and up and away hitter.
The next one off speed and outside as Rooker tried to turn it over. And they count 1 ball and 1 strike. Interesting how they change. You talk about Jekyll and Hyde. A switch hitter certainly fulfills that description. The 1-1 pitch, breaking ball, foul back, and pretty good overhand wrinkle on that one.
Yeah, Rooker's throwing better velocity today than I've seen him in the past, and he's got a real quick slider now.
1-2, the count to Ken Singleton. 2 out, first inning, no score. Rooker into the windup. Jim ready, and the 1-2 fastball is hit to center. It's playable. Omar Marino right there and puts it away. So Jim Rooker sets the Birds down in order, and at the end of half an inning, the Orioles nothing, and the Pirates coming up. Bottom of the first inning, no score. Let's take a look at Baltimore defensively. Mike Flanagan on the hill and Rick Dempsey behind the plate. Eddie Murray and Rich Dower, Chico Garcia and Doug DeCinces on the infield. Benny Ayala in left. Gary Renicky is in center. Ken Singleton around in right. For Mike Flanagan, who figures to be the Cy Young Award winner in the American League, he was 23-9. And remember, he was 14-2 at Memorial Stadium. So if you do a little subtraction, he wound up 9-7 on the road. And for Pittsburgh, they certainly can't be in too much of awe of Flanagan, because when he beat them 5-4, the Pirates had 4 runs and 11 hits and wound up leaving the tying run at third when Wilbur Stargell popped out to left field. But again, let's brush up on Mike Flanagan and find out about his stuff.
He's average to above average fastball. He rides one a little. He turns one over. Got a very good slider, good curveball, and come up with a changeup this year. To me, he's one of those guys that's an outstanding pitcher. That's why he won 23 games, and I'll guarantee you he will be the Cy Young Award winner.
In looking at the Pirate lineup, Omar Marino, Tim Foley, and Dave Parker, the men who gave Flanagan somewhat of a bad time in Baltimore, Dave Parker had 4 hits, and Phil Garner had 3. And, of course, Wilbur Stargell hit a home run, so we'll see particularly about those 2 hitters, Garner and Parker, how they can do with Flanagan the second time around, and vice versa. Marino at the plate, long drink of water, left-hand batter, takes a look at a strike, and here we go.
You know, there's 2 things can happen today. The Pirates figure this way. We go home tomorrow. If we don't win, they just let everything go. Baltimore is 3-1. Sometimes you get a little careless.
Big slow curve over for a strike, and Marino backed out 0-2. Omar hitting .263. The big thing, he has not really been on the base paths to do any damage, and he was picked off yesterday. The strike 2 pitch on the way, big high. That looked like he was going to turn over a change, and it really got away.
Yeah, then either that or that front spike got caught out there, because that was really funny looking when he got to the top, just as he was getting ready to let loose of it.
You talk about an early release. He released that thing before he was halfway through his delivery. 1-2 the count to Omar Marino. Mike into the windup. Back he comes. Good curveball. Swung on and missed. That's a vicious way to start a game.
I ain't too sure, though, Benny. Maybe that other one was just a faker.
A little decoy. So Marino, the old baseball cliche about going off the edge of a table, he had some curveball to strike out with, and that'll bring up Tim Foley.
Sometimes silly people say, well, how good is he? Well, 23 wins speaks for itself.
And how? And just looking at that breaking ball that he just threw Marino, you know how good he is. Here's Tim Foley hitting .294. The right hand hitting shortstop, hitting ahead of Dave Parker. Takes a fastball and a good zip on the inside corner for a strike.
Looks like he's a little more relaxed today than he was over in Baltimore. I thought in Baltimore he was a little edgy, and I didn't think he had the stuff that I've seen him have before.
Here's the strike 1 pitch on the way. Mike's fastball is inside, right at the kneecap. 1-1 the count to Foley. Is he going to keep that fastball in on him all day? Is that the idea? Oh, Mike, yeah.
Loves to put right-handers inside. Canale used to love to do that when he was throwing hard.
1-1 pitch on the way. Flanagan's fastball is in there again, so he's giving Foley heat, and the count 1-2. Naturally, a hitter has to go up there looking fastball because he has a little bit of time to adjust for the breaking ball. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball low and inside, but a hard curve.
Yeah, he's got a quick one today, and that's what I said then the other day. I thought he was a little bit, first time in a World Series, a little bit tight, but today he's just free.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Tim Foley. Flanagan delivers fastball, hit foul outside of first, and that might have had a little bit of a tail on it. It seemed to be running away.
That's the one he'll run away from a little bit. He doesn't do that too often. What he'll do is pitch you inside, then go away, and I wouldn't be surprised you get that quick breaker or that fastball inside now.
Boy, you got a lot to think of when you're hitting against him. The 2-2 pitch coming up. Fastball, and it's hit to straightaway center. Gary Renicky comes up and makes the catch because Foley never really got around on it. The fastball almost by him. So 2 down in the first inning, and Dave Parker. And, of course, in going back in the book, realizing Parker had 4 hits against him, this will be an interesting second time around.
We'll see now if he learned anything the other day.
When Parker had his 4 hits, he doubled to right and singled to right, and then twice singled up the middle. So we'll see what he does now, and vice versa with Flanagan. Parker hitting .412 in the series, and takes the first one high and inside, ball 1. Parker with 7 hits, including 2 doubles, 2 runs batted in. For a 1-0 pitch, sidearm fastball on the hand, fouled away. Does he do that very much?
Well, you better go get a new bat first. That won't be in the fireplace this winter.
Boy, he came right around the corner.
On those big, strong left-handers, he'll reach down and show him a sidearm pitch 1. Then sometimes he'll go away from it. Then if he gets back to it on the last pitch with 2 strikes.
As Parker goes to get another bat, you can look back over the Pirates and the RBIs. Bill Garner leads Pittsburgh in the series with 4. Ed Ott 3, then Stargell 3, and then you have Dave Parker and Bill Madlock 2 apiece. For Baltimore, the big RBI man is Chico Garcia with a half a dozen. DeCinces has 3. Lowenstein has 3. All right, Parker's back up there with a new stick. 1 ball and 1 strike. Flanagan into the windup and delivers fastball and a high foul off third. DeCinces coming over to the box seat railing, leaning in, but he can't get it. It's 2 rows back. So he has sidearmed him with 1 fastball, and he's come more or less over the top with another. So Flanagan mixing pitches, delivery, and the Cy Young, not long shot, odds-on favorite in the American League. Back for the second time against the Bucks, and of course for Pittsburgh, you either do it today and go back to Baltimore or pack up and see you next spring.
That's why today is a kind of a dangerous ball game because Pittsburgh now doesn't care about anything. They figure let's let it go. Baltimore's 3-1. You know they're going home, and sometimes you just get a little activation.
1-1 the count to Dave Parker, and it's Dave waiting. 1-2 should be the count, so they have to correct the scoreboard. And a breaking ball is swung on and missed, strike 3. So Dave Parker goes down on a big overhand curve, and Flanagan has issued the word. He's got his stuff.
Got good stuff today, Vinny.
And the Pirates go out in order at the end of an inning, no score. At the end of an inning, no score. We are happy to report that the temperature is 46 degrees. That's a little bit of an improvement on yesterday. The trouble is that this day the game starts 3 hours later than yesterday. So the prospect will be that the heat of the 46 degrees will disappear shortly. Jim Rooker and Mike Flanagan. Were you surprised about Rooker, or like everybody else when you heard about Keeson having trouble loosening up, he was about the logical man to go to?
Well, yesterday before we signed off, Vince, we thought it was going to be Keeson because it was logical, but then afterwards I found out that Keeson, he tried to warm up yesterday and he still has stiffness, so Rooker's the only man they could go to.
They have announced that it would be Jim Palmer and Bert Blyleven on Tuesday. Remember, tomorrow would be a travel day if there be another game. But, of course, Blyleven, I guess that's another difficult decision for Tanner because he certainly can't think about Tuesday when he's battling for his life today.
No, today is the most important day.
Right now, Eddie Murray, Gary Renicky, and then Doug DeCinces in the second inning, no score. Eddie hitting .286, 1 home run. Remember the changeup he hit off Blyleven over in Baltimore? Murray with 4 hits, 1 run batted in. Rooker, ready, delivers, fastball, but it was just outside, ball one.
You know, Vince, there hasn't been many home runs for all the runs that have been scored, though.
No, and of course, the other night, and again, it could be the weather.
I think so. I think that heavy air you said the other night, there'd have been 3 balls. I know would have went out.
1 ball and no strikes to Eddie Murray, followed by Gary Reineke, and then Doug DeCinces. Now the 1-0 pitch is a changeup, a little low, ball 2, 2-0. There is one difference in the Baltimore lineup, and no doubt it was Earl Weaver thinking about it for the moment. The 2-0 pitch to Murray is a high fly ball into right center. It's playable, and Dave Parker is there. Looks up into that wool sky and makes the catch. 1 away. If you looked at the Baltimore lineup that went against John Candelaria, and then if you looked at the Baltimore lineup going against left-handed Jim Rooker today, there is one change. Reineke hit the head of DeCinces today. DeCinces hit ahead of Reineke against Candelaria. Have any educated guess as to why, or do you just think it's Weaver magic?
Well, he don't have any book. I know that he always says he has matchup. He don't have any book on Rooker. The only thing I'm thinking of, maybe DeCinces told him his back to low step today.
So Reineke hitting 125. That kept him relatively quiet. He's 1 for 8. Right-hand batter takes the breaking ball inside and low. Ball 1, 1-0.
And maybe, Vince, he'd like to have something to talk about after.
Oh, yeah, sure. After yesterday and how. The 1-0 pitch, fastball, and he didn't get around. He popped it up. Stargell will move over and make the catch for the out. So after starting him with the good, hard curveball, Rooker came back, and he's throwing pretty quick. And that was a sneaky fastball, and Reineke barely got around and popped it up to the first baseman. So now Doug DeCinces coming up, hitting 250 in the third. DeCinces, of course, hit that home run, and in checking his batting average, we're sorry to say we have to take away a lot of points for him. We said he was hitting 250. He's hitting 077.
That might be the reason.
Maybe so. 1 hit, and that was a home run. So DeCinces waiting, 2 down, second inning, no score. Jim Rooker delivers, good fastball over for a strike. So DeCinces hitting with 2 out, no score in the second. The strike 1 fastball, high and outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Say one thing, the left-handers have come ready. Both Brannigan and Rooker are impressive in the early going. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Fastball on the inside corner. Oh, what a big pitch that was.
I haven't seen Jimmy throw this good in about 3 years.
Oh, he came in with a great fastball, and DeCinces was looking away, and he had to jump out of the way, and it got a good portion to the inside part of the plate. 1-2 the count. Rooker into the windup, and the 1-2 pitch on the way. Breaking ball got him swinging, and I'll tell you what, we're liable to see ourselves quite a duel here today.
We might have a real ball game on our hands.
Rooker retires 6 in a row at the end of an inning and a half, no score. We're in the bottom of the second inning, no score in game number 5 of the World Series. You know, you talk about all the pressure, and basically, pressure would come from within. The reason I bring this up, it just came to mind a moment ago. When Johnny Padres was just a kid with the Dodgers, and he won the big game against the Yankees in the 55 World Series, the town went crazy. Certainly Brooklyn did. But when they talked to Padres about the pressure after the game, Johnny said there was no pressure on me at all because no one expected anything of me. And I suddenly look down and I think, nobody expects Rooker to pitch a no-hitter. And if there is pressure, in some respect, it's on Flanagan. Everybody expects Flanagan to win.
Everybody expects Flanagan to win, Vince, and just think of this. Jimmy Rooker could be the hero of the whole season for the Pirates. If he wins today, that could turn the whole series around.
So it'll be an interesting thought now as we'll fly it to the second inning. Bill Robinson hits the ground ball, a one-hopper to DeCinces. He throws short, and Murray digs it out. And I tell you, DeCinces looks stiff on that.
Looks very stiff, and that might be that reason, because I don't think the old 77 would have any reason for moving from 5 to 6.
So with 1 out, Wilbur Stargell coming up. You know your Ramrod top sergeant in the Marine Corps? Well, that's the way Reineke went down for that ground ball. There was no fluidity. He was very stiff, and I would more or less have to believe his back is hurting. The pitch in the dirt all the way to the backstop. Ball 1 to Wilbur Stargell, hitting .389. He has piled up 15 total bases with 2 doubles, 2 home runs, 3 runs batted in. The 1-0 pitch is a high fly ball to center field. Gary Reineke is there, waiting for it and puts it away. 2 down. I loved Scargill's quote the other day. He said, "I want to enjoy every goosebump I get throughout the series."
Well, that's like we say. It's all for the moment. It's the greatest thrill you ever have. But if you can treat it that way and respect it for that, you'll enjoy the World Series. Then if it's over, you have no wanting for it.
Here's Bill Madlock with 2 out in the second inning, no score. Mike Flanagan and Jim Rooker. Madlock hitting .357 in the series. Strokes one down to Renicky. Bad hop, hits him in the chest. He recovers, throws too late. And Gary Renicky was hit just above the heart on that bad hop off the AstroTurf. If that's not a base hit, we can all back up. Did I say Renicky? Yeah, Douglas did say it for us. Well, let's check. As base hit, it was a bad hop, and it struck Doug right above the heart and staggered him. And the batter will be Steve Nicosia. I can't believe they haven't posted base hit already.
It's got to be a base hit. I think it hit that seam down there because I've seen that on AstroTurf. That's the only bad hop you ever get when it hits the seam.
Nicosia coming up, and it'll be a base hit. I'm just a little surprised it took that long to flash it. It ate up the Sensei. And the batter now is Steve Nicosia. Flanagan has thrown it first. His move against Clark, good one?
Well, he's got the real good one. I say I question the excellent one he has. He gave him the real ordinary one there. The great one he has might get questioned.
Curveball is lifted to left field. Benny Ayala going back. He's on the warning track and makes the catch. He was at least 5 or 6 feet away from the fence. So the bad hop single, and that's all. And at the end of 2, no score. Now it'll be Rich Dower to be followed by Rick Dempsey, and then Mike Flanagan to the third inning, no score. Dower hitting .333, 3 for 9. With 1 double, no RBIs, right-hand hitting second baseman. Billy Smith, the switch hitter on the bench for this one. And Jim Rooker ready to go to work. The left-hander delivers, fastball low, ball 1. Let's pause 5 seconds for stations to identify themselves on the CBS radio network. Waiting in the 1-0 pitch, away with a fastball, ball 2.
You know, Vince, when I think of umpires, there's been so many good ones, but I think of 2 special. One from the American League, Nestor Salak, who was great. And the other, Al Parlake, as you remember, was great in the National League.
Outstanding. 2-0 the count to Dower. Here comes Rooker's fastball. Swung on and missed. 2-1. Would you expect Dower to be swinging 2-0 if he were playing in this kind of a game?
Yeah, I expect him to be swinging because they've got to get some points on the board, and right away they've got to establish they can hit Rooker. They haven't hit anything the first 2 innings.
Rooker retiring 6 in a row. The 2-1 fastball is popped up, so Dower didn't get around on it. Scargill is coming in and pops moving to his right, makes the catch for the out. So Dower goes down. That's 7 in a row retired by Jim Rooker. And the batter now will be the catcher, Rick Dempsey. Rooker has 1 strikeout, and Flanagan has 2. Dempsey, the right-hand batter, hitting .250, 3 for 12. Steve Nicosia putting the gear back on and ready to settle into a crouch, but Rooker just takes a walk, and evidently at a 46-degree temperature, the pitchers have been instructed if you want to go to your mouth, you must leave the mound. Dempsey waiting, Rooker into the windup. Fastball, and a good one with an easy motion, and he hurried that thing.
Hey, Rooker reminds me of Garcia. Garcia thinks he should be in the National League, and Rooker now has pitched, well, he's pitched 6 in the 3rd innings. He says, I'm in the wrong league.
He wants to go back. Strike 1 pitch on the way. Fastball low and inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. During the regular year, and again, as we said, it really doesn't mean too much because you're playing against totally different people. But Rooker was 4 and 7 and an earned run average of almost 5. So you don't expect miracles, but here he comes. The 1-1 fastball is a chopper to third. Madlock is right there. A little high to Scargill, but you got a big man to handle it. And he has 2 down, so Rooker has retired 8 in a row. Mike Flanagan coming up. Flanagan in the first game of the World Series with the bat grounded out in front of the plate, hit one that just went under Scargill's glove, and I think a lot of people felt it was a base hit, he included, but they called it an error, and then he struck out twice after that. Rooker delivers fastball and a high fly ball into straightaway center, and Omar, spreading his tents in Marino, makes the catch. So, 9 in a row retired by Jim Rooker. How do you do?
I told you, he needs to get back in the American League.
At the end of 2.5 innings, no score. Flanagan and Jim Rooker. For the Bucks, Phil Garner, Jim Rooker, and remember, Rooker's a pretty good hitter. And then Omar Marino. Rooker looks certainly as sharp as Flanagan. We could have the pitching duel of the series today.
Yeah, it's funny. You know, yesterday after the ball game, everybody was saying, well, Flanagan going tomorrow, and Rooker, it'll probably be over. It doesn't work that way. As I said, the Pirate Ball Club didn't get here because they were a bad ball club. They got here because they're a great baseball team, and I just believe if they win today, it's going to go 7 games.
Well, let's take a look at the bottom of the third inning. Phil Garner will start it off. Garner has had a big series. He's hitting .500 with 4 runs batted in. Flanagan into the windup and delivers in a punt to the right of the mound. Flanagan calmly down and throws him out. Garner lunging at the bag, almost taking a header as he hit it.
You notice, Vince, that AstroTurf, what they talk about bunting. Now, there was a pretty good bunt that they did on grass and it went out late, but that ball hit and got momentum and was right back to fighting it.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to bunt. Sure, a squeeze bunt or something with the element of surprise. But you just try and get one down on AstroTurf. The odds are very much against you. And here is Jim Rooker, a good hitting pitcher, although he hasn't had too many at-bats this year. But in the past, when he was pitching well and often, he could swing the bat. This year, however, he's had only 4 hits. And he has some shock. He has a half a dozen home runs in his career. Flanagan's fastball is fouled back, 0-1. Do you have any basic theories? Well, of course, in the American League you won't, but when you were in the National League, as far as pitching to pitchers, for instance, never change up on a pitcher.
Well, I'd say give him a lot of breaking stuff.
The next pitch is a little high, 1 ball and 1 strike. I guess if you do throw a change up to a pitcher, that means that pitcher has to be a very good hitter.
Has to be an excellent hitter.
Big, slow curve. In fact, he tried to bend that thing and turn it over, and it was high, ball 2. So they have Rooker tabbed as a good hitting pitcher, that's for sure. 2-1 to Jim. 1 out, bottom of the third inning, no score. Game 5 of the World Series. Baltimore trying to close it out. Fastball, and that's it foul off to the right, out of play. That was a pretty tough pitch for Rooker to try and pull because he was moving away from him.
He's got to get himself real ready now for the old overhand hook.
Here comes that mean downer. He struck Marino out with 1. We'll see now 2-2 to Jim Rooker. Flanagan into the windup. The left-hander ready and delivers. Fastball got him looking. So one pitcher out-thinking the other pitcher because you know that Rooker was saying, I'm going to be ready for that mean breaking ball.
You know, Vince, I thought I might improve today, but I'm starting off in bad shape.
So the fastball caught him looking. As Rooker gets wrong 2, I might add. And with 2 out, here's Omar Marino.
Maybe that's why Flanagan wins 23 games and Weaver don't call his pitches.
Let me ask you something. What was your best batting average when you played? Honest.
My best was 298 in AAA, and my
great
one in the majors was 218.
The pitch to Omar Marino, a little high, ball 1, 1-0.
And that's why I didn't stay around to find out if I could improve it.
80 points difference. Here's a 1-0 pitch on the way, and there's a breaking ball in there for a strike. So it looks like Flanagan decides he's going to throw that mean number 2 at Marino all day. Roy Campanelli used to call that public enemy number 1.
You know, and the surprising part is the way Reineke's playing him so far over left center and they're throwing him breaking stuff.
Now a fastball, and he jammed him, and a little fly ball back a third down the line. Garcia one-hands it in foul territory.
Don't worry about Garcia. And something might look funny when he's going after it or something, but he'll get everything because this is his series.
So Garcia goes into foul ground to handle it. The Pirates are gone in order, and at the end of 3 quick ones, no score. Inning, no score in the ball game. The Orioles and Pirates, Jim Rooker and Mike Flanagan. Sparky, in looking at this must game, I assume Pittsburgh battling for its life still must hold to its scouting report, even though they've lost 3 out of 4.
Well, you have to, Vince. You pay those people good money to do their job, and when I was at Cincinnati, we had Ray Shore. I call him Snacksy. He did such a tremendous job for us. And he had the reports down pat, and we're playing the Oakland Ball Club in 1972. We're in the 4th game. We got them beat 3-2, and we discussed Marquez, a pinch hitter that we went over and over each day, that anytime he hits the ball in the air, he'll hit the ball left center, but if he hits the ball on the ground, we'll play him to pull. Well, David said, no, I like to play him over in the hole. And so I let David do it. Marquez let off on a high bouncer up the middle. It should have been easy out, and they end up beating us that ball game. And Ray Short, to this day, I don't think he's ever forgiven me for it.
Leading off now, Kiko Garcia, and he fouls it away, 0-1.
And I haven't forgiven myself, and I told David afterwards, from now on, we'll listen to Mr. Shore, and you'll play shortstop.
Yeah, we have some great scouts, of course, involved in any World Series. The two men who are certainly up front, Jim Russo for Baltimore, Howie Hayes of Pittsburgh, but there are a lot of other unsung heroes as well.
And like anything, there's a head one, so they get all the credit, but there's so many of them doing a good job.
Strike one pitch on the way. Rooker breaks it off. A ground ball to short. Foley is up with it over to first, and that takes care of Garcia. And again, Rooker coming with that overhand curveball, and he's retired 10 in a row. Here's Benny Ayala, the left fielder, who grounded to short in the first inning.
Rooker's saying right now, they should have opened with me. We'd be ahead right now.
Another thought, Sparky. This is the second time around, and there's a chance to visit because McKeon wants to look at the ball. But when you get to the second time around, do you expect a pitcher to change the pattern that he's already used, or does he stay what's been getting him out?
I think he stayed with what he's getting him out. The other day, you said it, and I heard people talking about it in the press room. Bibby, in the third inning, he did change his pitches down. That was the only inning he got hurt in.
Here's Rooker ready, and the pitch to Ayala a little bit low. They check first. No swing, says Paul Runge. And they count 1 ball and no strike. Jim Rooker, 37 years old, from Library, Pennsylvania. They referred to him in the paper as a librarian. Here's the 1-0 pitch, and he just missed outside and low, ball 2. 2-0.
That man on first base, you know, we grade umpires at the end of the year, the highest grades I ever gave for a rookie, Paul Runge.
Is that right? Chip off the old block. His dad was a great one. The next one is low, and so suddenly, for the first time, Rooker is behind the hitter, and he's as far behind as you can go without losing him. 3-0 to count to Benny Ayala. Jim ready, delivers, fastball down the pipe. 3-1. Ayala 2 for 3 in the World Series, including a home run and 2 RBIs. 3-1 fastball is high. Ball 4. So after retiring 10 in a row, Rooker looks at his first base runner, a walk to Benny Ayala, and here's Kenny Singleton. Singleton followed by Murray. You wonder sometimes when you hit in the number 2 slot if there isn't the advantage that a pitcher is really pressing to get you because of the fellow on deck.
I think so, because that guy on deck, the 3rd and 4th and 5th hitters are their big horses. And usually, you know, they're trying to lay it in there, and when they're trying to do that, they usually don't have that good control.
Rooker ready and delivers fastball, and Singleton hits it late and foul down the right field line, peeling off back into the lower deck. And the count 0-1. 1 out, 4th inning, no score. Game 5 of the 79 World Series.
Vince, just as a spectator or something, I love to watch Dave Parker. Most outfielders on that ball wouldn't even bother to go. He goes over to the line on everything and makes sure.
0-1 to count to Kenny Singleton. Eddie Murray on deck. Rooker out of his stretch. You look at Ayala and decides you better go over there. What about Rooker's move? You know much about it?
Yeah, Jimmy doesn't have a good move. That's his move right there. He goes quick to the plate, though, and he's tough to run off.
0-1 to count to Kenny Singleton. Rooker, another look at first. Runner holding the pitch to Singleton. A check swing. They check it first. No swing, says Runge. I'll tell you, I'll give you the name of a pretty well-known left-hand pitcher in the National League who not only had a poor move to first, he didn't even like to throw to first. Kurt Simmons.
Kurt would never throw to first.
He hated it.
Well, he was a pretty good pitcher. He didn't get too many on.
And now, Rooker on the rubber now backs off and straddles as he just stares at Ayala. Benny, during the regular year, did not have a stolen base. And with Singleton up there, the only thought is that if Ayala's moving, it would be part of a hit-and-run play. Do they force Singleton to play hit-and-run much?
Not too much. They don't fool with him hitting and running.
The 1-1 pitch is swung on and fouled back, 1-2. In fact, anytime I see a hitter hit for average who has to play hit and run a lot, I marvel. And Garvey is incredible. They ask him to hit balls off his ear, and he gets base hits and hit and run spots.
A lot of guys like to do that, especially when they're not swinging the bat well. I know Bench used to have a sign he would give us from the on-deck circle. If he wasn't feeling he was swinging the bat right, he just asked us if he could hit and run. And I'll tell you, I've seen Johnny hit home runs.
1-2 the count to Kenny Singleton. Jim Rooker, another look over at Ayala, back to his hitter, fastball, fouled away, and that's back again into the lower deck, off to the right. 1-2 to Ken Singleton. Singleton hitting .389, 7 hits and 2 RBIs in the World Series. No score, in case you might have joined us a little late. We're in the 4th inning, just 1 hit. A bad hop single by Bill Madlock that struck Doug DeCinces in the chest. Now the 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball away. Ball 2.
Well, he's throwing good. That's the thing that's amazing today. Jimmy's throwing extremely well.
Yeah, he had a lot on that fastball, even though it was outside. But now, after the walk to Ayala, he has to start throwing a strike. It's 2-2 to Singleton. Rooker delivers. Fastball in there. Strike 3 called. And I guess he set him up. One fastball was outside, and Singleton throws on the fastball that got the inside.
I always refer to that fastball from a left-hander as the Mike McCormick fastball from San Francisco, because I remember him. He struck 4 people out on called strike on that inside corner.
Singleton, a little hot under the collar, was chewing on Jim McKeon for a while. Now Ken goes back to the dugout. And with 2 down, here is Eddie Murray. He flied to right field in the 2nd inning. Ayala at first, held on by Stargell. We're in the 4th. No score. Murray hitting .267 in the series. Breaking ball, hit foul outside of 3rd, 0-1.
Hey, he's got real good stuff today. He's got good command of his breaking ball. And that fastball, he's running away, and then he's getting it right back on the inside corner.
0-1 the count. Another thought that you might have, we try to answer the question in advance with Jim Rooker. He made 17 starts this year, and he completed 1. But, of course, you're not expecting complete games in this kind of a scramble anyway. If there's the slightest doubt, why Tanner would go to the bullpen.
Charlie loved 5 or 6 innings. Right now, Charlie's feeling real well because he's got him to 3 2/3 innings already. If he can get him 2 more, he'll be happy.
0-1 the count to Eddie Murray. Rooker staring in. Ayala short lead at first. Now the strike 1 pitch, fastball, and he was jammed and popped it up. Bill Garner is right there, and Rooker has been outstanding. Flanagan has 2, but it's the surprise to see how well Rooker is pitching. And at the end of 3.5 innings, no score. Bottom of the 4th inning, in a dandy here, no score. Mike Flanagan and Jim Rooker. Tim Foley will start it off, then Dave Parker and Bill Robinson. And Flanagan goes behind the hill for the moment, heaves a sigh, and now climbs up on top and into the bottom of the 4th. Foley, little fly ball to center field in the 1st inning. Tim 0 for 1. Right hand hitting shortstop, and Flanagan delivers. Fastball at the knees for a strike. 0-1. Foley with 5 hits in the World Series, hitting .278. The strike 1 pitch to Tim, off speed, and it's full foul outside of 3rd. He didn't take a hard swing, but it was a changeup, and he was still able to hammer it foul. 0-2. Anytime you have 2 strikes on Foley, the crowd leans forward. As we've mentioned throughout the series, the toughest man in the National League to strike out. How about the toughest in the American League, Sparky?
Don Baylor, California Angels, up about 698 times, struck out 51.
Strike 2 pitch. Foley hits the chopper wide to 3rd. DeCinces has it. Dug over to Eddie Murray in time. Of course, it is one thing for Foley choking up on the bat to punch and make contact. But for a man with Baylor's power to be so tough to strike out is really remarkable.
Yeah, he's just become an outstanding hitter. He's a power hitter. And he's got great discipline, great bat control. And I'll say one more thing, Warren. When you talk about good people in our business and high-class people, that's Don Baylor.
With 1 out in the 4th inning, Dave Parker coming up. He struck out in the 1st inning. Mike Flanagan trying to return the favor. Remember, Parker went 4 for 4 against him in Baltimore. Fastball is fouled away, and again he sidearmed him a little bit, 0-1. So Parker backs out. He broke his bat, you remember, before striking out in the 1st inning.
Tony Perez used to laugh. He said, "You're getting in your kitchen."
Here's a strike 1 pitch. Sidearm, a curveball swung on and missed. So he's come sidearm by way of first with a fastball, and now a breaking ball. 0-2. So Parker has been sidearmed twice. Big Dave back up to the plate, and Flanagan reading Rick Dempsey's signs. Mike ready. He's going to come with a fastball high and outside. He was leaning again, 1-2.
That's not fair. Inside with a fastball, then a vicious curve, and then on the outside corner and miss.
So Parker getting the message from Flanagan. Mike into the windup. 1-2 pitch on the way. Fastball swung on and missed. He came over the top with it, down and away, and Parker strikes out. You know what made me think of? Remember when Stargell hit the home run and Flanagan said, I came sidearm once too often. He didn't do it with Parker.
No, he didn't do it with Parker, and I think he might have learned a little something from the 4-base hits the other day.
4 strikeouts for Mike Flanagan, and that's twice he has Parker. And here is Bill Robinson, who grounded to third in the second inning. Flanagan delivers, and the fastball a little up and outside. Ball 1, 1-0. Bill Robinson hitting .250, 3 base hits. The 1-0 pitch on the way, bounced it in the dirt right at his feet. 2-0 the count. So Flanagan falling behind to a hitter. Both pitches have been magnificent with their ability to stay ahead. Now the 2-0 pitch to Bill Robinson. The left-hander Flanagan jammed him, and it's fouled back, 2-1.
You know, Bill's really done a great job for this ball club the past 3 years. I just don't think there's any guy that's helped him to win any more than Bill Robinson.
In fact, during the course of the year, to give you an idea, he had 24 home runs, 75 runs batted in. And he hits one to right center field. That's got a chance to go up the alley, and it does. Singleton is chasing it. Robinson into second with a stand-up double. Double by Bill Robinson. Wilbur Stargell, the batter. No score in the 4th inning. Stargell went 1 for 5 against Flanagan. He was 0 for 3 when he finally hit his home run against Mike in the 8th inning. And that's when Flanagan persisted in side-arming him, and Wilbur finally hit one out. Stargell hitting .368, and he hits the first pitch, a ground ball down to second. Dower hesitating, then throws to Eddie Murray, and that's it. So Stargell, first ball swinging, taps out, and they leave Robinson at second base. At the end of 4, no score. With 1 out in the 4th inning. So the left-handers are very much in control of this game right now as we move into the 5th inning. For Baltimore, Gary Reineke will start it off, then Doug DeCinces and Rich Dower. And Jim Rooker into the inning that Tanner had hoped for. He has gotten him into the 5th, and as Sparky said, Tanner would just love it if he can give him a strong 5, and from there on he could rely on the bullpen. The way Rooker and Flanagan are pitching, they would both appear to be around for a while. Gary Reineke popped up to Wilbur Stargell in the 2nd inning. Right-hand hitting center fielder today. Of course, during the course of the year, he plays all 3 outfield positions for Baltimore. Reineke wearing the face mask after being hit in the mouth by Laren LeGros, who was in with the White Sox. Laren now with the Dodgers. Reineke at the plate, and Jim Rooker looks down the barrel to get a sign from Steve Nicosia, and here we go. Fastball, and it's in there at the knees. He's been starting them off with a strike, except for Ayala. He has had the edge on just about every hitter. 0-1 the count to Gary Reineke. Rooker blowing on his hand. Now Jim rocks into the very easy windup, and the strike 1 breaking ball is a little low. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know, Vince, after seeing McGregor the other day, I hope all pitchers out there watching will learn one thing. If you throw strikes, you got a chance to win.
Wasn't that McGregor awesome, the way he threw the ball over 96 pitches, 78 strikes? 1 ball and 1 strike to Gary Reineke. Right-hand hitting center fielder today. Fastball is whacked into left center. Marino chasing it, and that's going to short hop the fence. Marino plays to Karen, but Gary goes striding into second base, standing with a double. So the leadoff man is at second base, and of course, as soon as Baltimore does anything, considering Pittsburgh's position, you immediately look to the bullpen. So with a runner at second and nobody out, Doug DeCinces coming up. Sparky, in watching him today field a ground ball, plus looking at the card, seeing that suddenly he is hitting 1 notch lower against the left-hander than the other day against Candelaria, You wonder now what DeCinces brings up to the plate. Perhaps a shot at right, or what?
He's going to hit the ball to right field because I'll guarantee you his back's bothering him, and he's told her all that. They tried to not make any noise about it. I'll promise you that, and that's why he's hitting 6, because he would not be hitting 6.
So DeCinces trying to nudge Reineke over a notch. Rooker delivers, and Doug takes way outside. He couldn't lay the bat on it anyway. Ball 1, 1-0. If you were a hitter, would you rather go the other way with the inside pitch or the outside pitch?
Ball inside, because you want to be able to cut it, and you bring your hands, and it's much easier to hit the ball inside the right field.
For a fastball on the inside corner, there was a case of DeCinces laying off what he thought was a bad ball. And
inside the right field.
For a fastball on the inside corner, there was a case of DeCinces laying off what he thought was a bad ball. And Jim McKeon saying, no, it had the edge. 1-1, the count to Doug DeCinces. Rich Dower on deck. Reineke standing at second base. Nobody out in the 5th inning, no score. Rooker back to his hitter. Fastball away, and it's hit over the head of a leaping Garner into right field. Reineke had to hold because he thought it was going to be caught. He can only go to third, but there it is. He not only went the other way, but he got a base hit.
Yeah, but Ben, Reineke's the one there, too. He really impressed me. He went right back to about 6 feet from the bag and waited. And the moment he seen the ball clear his glove, he went to third. But he was not going to be double, and that's the way to play the game that Admiral Doubleday invented.
Garner going up the ladder as high as he could, still missing flagging it, and now they're moving around in the Pirate bullpen. So this was the bottom line. You had said it. If Chuck Tanner could get 5 strong innings out of Rooker, he'd be thrilled. Well, he got 4 strong, and now Jim is wobbling a little as Reineke doubles. DeCinces singles to right. First and third, nobody out, and here is Dower. He popped up to Stargell in the 3rd inning. The Pirate infield is back. Stargell on the bag. Madlock a little bit wide of third. Foley and Garner making their own signals as far as who's going to cover second base. So DeCinces off first. Reineke down the line from third. And the fastball outside, ball 1. Most of the time when a second baseman and a shortstop have a signal who's covering, one of them puts his glove over his face and then either opens his mouth or not. And that's the signal. They've worked that out before the game. 1 ball and no strikes. Now the 1-0 pitch. There goes the runner, and it's fouled away. Sparky, as I said, they always use the glove. Is there another wrinkle? Is there any other sign that a second baseman and a shortstop use, or has that been used ever since they played the game?
It's ever since I've been playing. That's since I came in the game 28 years ago, and even before that when I was in high school, Legion ball, that's always been the way.
Yeah, that's the way I've always heard it, but just wondered. 1 ball and 1 strike, the count to Rich Dower. So they played hit and run with DeCinces going, and Dower fouled it off. Rooker ready, and the 1-1 pitch, fastball low and inside. So why once and not twice? What's the thinking of a hit-and-run play?
Well, they were just guessing right there that other pitch that he wasn't going to pay any attention to DeCinces, and they took a gamble. Now that he's done it and he fouled the ball off, they don't want to test it again because Rooker could be looking for it.
2-1 the count to Rich Dower. We're in the 5th inning, no score. Baltimore at first and third. Rooker leaning in to get a sign. Now Jim straightens up, and he goes to first base to Stargell to keep DeCinces tied up. So after going through 4 innings without allowing a hit, Rooker gives up a double to Reineke and a single to right to DeCinces, and he's in some trouble. The left-hander straightens up and checks. The 2-1 pitch, the runner going, ground ball to Garner. He feeds Foley, back to Stargell, double play, but the run scores from third. So they played hit and run anyway, and still Pittsburgh got the double play. 4-6-3. It is 1-0 Baltimore in the top of the 5th, and with 2 out, here comes Rick Dempsey.
They can be thankful there. That was a bullet. And if that ball was on either side of Gardner, that ball was going to be first and third because DeCinces would be going all the way to third on that ball.
So with 2 down, here's Rick Dempsey, 1-0 in favor of Baltimore. We saw 5 double plays in yesterday's game. The Bucks came up with 3, and the Pirates hit into 2. And the first pitch now to Dempsey, up and away, ball 1, 1-0. If you really keep close tabs on a ball game, well, you know that Dower did not get credit for a run batted in, but Baltimore will take it anyway. The 1-0 pitch is swung on and missed, 1-1. Then we told you about how Bert Blyleven is the announced pitcher for Tuesday. Well, there might not be a Tuesday as far as baseball in Pittsburgh is concerned, and so Bert Blyleven is throwing in the bullpen right now. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Dempsey. Fastball outside. Ball 2, 2-1. Rooker is due to bat fourth when the Pirates come up in the fifth inning. And in this kind of a spot, every pitcher for Pittsburgh is in there from an inning-by-inning basis. The 2-1 breaking ball over nicely. 2-2.
I've really been impressed with Rooker today, Vince. I don't think you're going to pitch any better. He made two mistakes, got a ball a little up to Renegade. He hit it dead in the hole in left center, and then he got a ball up that defense they just got over Garner's head.
The 2-2 pitch coming up. Rooker's fastball is almost in the dirt. Ball 3. 3-2. Mike Flanagan, the pitcher, is on deck. And although they would love to get Dempsey and then start the sixth inning with Flanagan, we'll see about the 3-2 pitch. Breaking ball and a shot into left field. So he hung the curve, and then Rooker seemed to gesture with Nicosia as if to say, yes, I know.
That's the greatest break Baltimore could have got, though. They get Flanagan up here, and they don't have to lead off the next inning for him, so they got a chance to have the leadoff. The top three guys coming up.
Flanagan fly to center. So Dempsey hits a breaking ball with 2 outs, singles to left, and here is Flanagan. Mike hits as he pitches, left-handed. Jim Rooker, left foot on the rubber, looks down to get a sign. Now the left-hander ready and delivers. Breaking ball in the dirt, ball 1. I don't think Pittsburgh will ever recover from the fact that Tim Stoddard was allowed to go up there and hit yesterday, and he got a base hit in his first swings professionally. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Flanagan takes low and inside, ball 2.
Yeah, that makes it a little tough. Yeah, that's kind of rubbing the salt right in the wound.
2-0, the count of Flanagan. This crowd, of course, thoroughly understanding the situation, and they're a little bit edgy. It's 1-0 Baltimore, top of the fifth, 2 out. Rooker set, looks at first, back with a fastball in there, 2-1. And it certainly doesn't figure that a catcher is going to do any kind of base running down there at first with the pitcher at the plate and 2 out. So I'm a little surprised Stargell is even holding him on.
Yeah, I'm surprised here.
The 2-1 pitch, Flanagan swings and misses. If Flanagan hits the ground ball into the hole into right field, Stargell is going to feel miserable that he was on the bag. 2-2. Dempsey, short lead, doesn't have a stolen base, is not going to run anywhere, but Stargell, the automatic position, standing on the bag. The 2-2 pitch, Flanagan takes high, ball 3.
You know, this Mike Flanagan approaches the ball as if he's with a hitter, so I guess in college he was a good hitter.
He had a pretty good rip in the third inning when he hit the fly ball. With a full count and 2 down, Stargell now gets off the bag, and Dempsey, of course, will be ready to go, shepherded by Jim Fry over there. Cal Ripken coaching at third. 3-2, the count to Mike Flanagan. Rooker at the belt, the runner goes, and the pitch is fouled away. So Flanagan, what do they do when they're not hitting, these fellas? They must have their own cage over there in the American League for pitchers.
No, you know, they do come out and fool around early every day and hit. That's the one thing I have noticed. You know, everybody says they don't hit in America. They take batting practice. They come out early and they play games.
3-2 to count to Mike Flanagan. 1-0 Baltimore in the fifth inning with 2 outs. Rooker leaning on his knees, reading signs flashed out by Nicosia. Dempsey goes, and the pitch is ball 4. And a groan heading to the skies here in Pittsburgh. Flanagan battling 3-2, gets the walk, and the batter will be Kiko Garcia, popped up and grounded to short, 0 for 2. Here in the inning, Reineke doubled. DeCinces singled to right field, sending Reineke to third. Reineke scored while Dower hit into a double play. They were actually playing hit and run. DeCinces was going. But Dempsey followed with a single, and Flanagan has walked. And so the Orioles are still very much in business, leading 1-0 with 2 out, and here's Garcia, the right-hand hitting shortstop, hitting .500 in the series. And Rooker's fastball is inside, and he is very much wobbly now. On deck is Benny Ayala.
And it's a tough move for Chuck because he brings in Blyleven right now. He's the 4th hitter in the inning next inning, and he'd like to get this guy out and then be able to use Blyleven when he gets hit.
And Rooker is high again, ball 2, 2-0. So Rooker has to be pressing now here in the fifth inning. He's battling to stay above water and stay in the game. The 2-0 pitch, fastball hit down to Foley. He'll underhand to Garner, and Rooker is out of the jam. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 left. And at the end of 4 1/2, Orioles 1, Pirates 0. We're moving moving into the bottom of the fifth inning, 1-0 in favor of Baltimore in a battle of left-handers, Mike Flanagan and left-hander Jim Rooker for Pittsburgh. You know, Sparky, there's something I've wanted to ask you ever since the first game of the series, and it has nothing to do with strategy, but whenever we talk about the managers, you'll talk about Earl and Charlie, and you're the only person in baseball I know of who refers to Chuck Tanner as Charlie. How come?
Well, we played in Toronto together for 2 years, and we roomed together, and I just always called him Charlie. You know, everybody else calls him Chuck, but I always called him Charlie. We hung around together all the time. We went everywhere together, and I like to think we're probably as close as personal friends.
All right, we got the explanation. Now let's take a look at the bottom of the fifth. Madlock with a bad hop single in the second inning. The ball hit a seam of the rug and hit Dutch Sensei just above the heart and staggered him. Then Nicosia and Garner. Flanagan ready, off speed, and he got it in there, and that is some pitch.
That's a good pitch. He's got the down timing on it perfect. He's got the perfect release.
So a strike one pitch on the way. The fastball and a shot up the middle. So if he thought he was setting Madlock up with the off-speed pitch and coming back with the fastball, Madlock shows why he won 2 batting championships. He sings it into center. Tying run aboard, Steve Nicosia coming up. Then Phil Garner. Blyleven has stopped throwing in the bullpen, but he might get up again because when they get down to Rooker's spot, I'm sure Chuck or Charlie will not hesitate.
No, Charlie's got him up again.
Here's Nicosia, and he has a look at Joe Lynette. Al Monjack coaching at first. Nicosia flied to left field in the second inning. The other night, he came close against McGregor. In the sixth inning with a man aboard, he had one to the center field fence, so he has a little power. When that comes down to talk to him. Nicosia has 1 hit in the series. Bill Garner on deck. Then after Garner, perhaps a hitter. And I can see Lee Lacy among others down there. Are you looking punt if you're Baltimore?
I'm going to say no.
Yeah, DeCince's back, that's for sure. And the pitch is instead of throw to first, and Madlock just got back. You talk about daylight at first base. He was all set to be hung out to dry and barely made it back.
He wouldn't have made it back had the throw been on the right field side. It was into the line towards home plate. If the throw had been on the opposite side, he was gone.
Now, does that tell you that they're thinking about taking a shot to right field?
It tells me that I think he might have been thinking of stealing.
Remember, Madlock is an excellent stealer. During the course of the year, Madlock stole 32 bases. But it's Rick Dempsey behind the plate and Mike Flanagan on the mound. It's pretty tough to get a jump. So Madlock takes the deal. Eddie Murray holding the bag on him. Flanagan goes over there, and this time Madlock goes back to the bag.
No, when you think about it, Vince, the Pirates have not stolen a base in this World Series.
No, sir. They came in here known as the Rabbits, and they have really been shut down. Flanagan ready, and another throw to first base. So he's keeping tabs on Madlock. The Pirates are 0 for 4 in stolen base attempts, and that's just part of the story of this 79 World Series. All right, Nicosia back up to the plate. 1-0 Baltimore, 5th inning. Flanagan eyeballing Madlock, comes to the plate. Fastball high and away, ball 1, 1-0. We told you we saw Lee Lacy in the corner of the dugout. Now we see Lee Lacy out on deck. So Nicosia followed by Garner, and evidently Lacy to bat for Rooker. 1-0 the count. Flanagan delivers fastball, fouled away. 1-1. There's a book in baseball. They tell you the same thing during the course of a regular season. You play to win on the road. You play to tie at home. And what they're really talking about is the sacrifice punt. You discard it on the road. You use it at home. But evidently not now.
I never believed that. I think that's something that somebody wrote one day to me. The first thing you got to do in anything is tie.
1-1. The count is Steve Nicosia. Flanagan's going to first base, but Madlock is back easily. 1-1. Baltimore, 1-run, 3 hits. The Pirates, no run, 3 hits. Flanagan to the plate, throwing in there. Oh, what a pitch. 1-2.
Super pitch. And Vince, I was going to, what Flanagan's using now, he's coming up and holding a lot. You see that all year with Carlson. He uses that move.
He has a very high set. The set, of course, is where your hands come together. Most pitchers will set at the belt buckle. Occasionally, you'll get a pitcher who sets up around the throat. And Flanagan, with a man on, is setting out in front of his face sometimes. This time at the hands, brings him up in front of his face, and then goes to first base. So there's a lot going on that mound right now. Mike leans in to get a sign. Madlock watching him. And he comes to the plate, 1-2, and it's inside. Looked like a little slider. He seemed to cut the ball.
Cut a little slider and just missed on the inside.
2-2 to Steve Nicosia. He's looking at Joe Launette. Now Nicosia, the right-hand hitting catcher, back up to the plate. Flanagan nodding yes to Dempsey, looks at Madlock, staring at him, comes to the plate, fastball, and it's fouled away, out of play. I was wondering, Nicosia looking 2-2, but of course they could have a play on.
Well, I don't think he was looking. He just wanted to make sure if he was stealing, he wanted to make sure he didn't take anything close. He's afraid of Dempsey.
Sometimes hitters fall into such a habit of looking at a third base coach. You'll see them with 2 out, bases empty, 3-2, and they'll back out and look at the coach.
Yeah, and remember the late Roberto Clemente used to look down 3-1 and say, give me a sign, give me a sign. Well, what's he doing? Everybody in the park knew he said.
2-2 pitches instead, another throw to first. So Flanagan, and this is what the Baltimore pitchers have been doing. Oh, sure, Rick Dempsey's going to get a lot of publicity, and well, he should. He's got a great arm. But basically, it gets back to the pitcher holding the runner on. The 2-2 pitch, off speed, got him swinging.
The man isn't fair, you know. If you're going to have a good fastball, use it. If you're going to have a good curve, use it. Don't use all 3 of them good. Change fastball curve.
He's got him going now. That's 5 strikeouts for Mike Flanagan. And with 1 out, Bill Garner is the batter. Lee Lacy is on deck to match with Jim Rooker. And Bert Blyleven throwing in the bullpen.
We beat Flanagan like nothing in Detroit. We beat him 2-1. We got 4 hits.
Really worn out. Flanagan scraping at the dirt in front of the rubber. Now Mike plants the left foot, goes to a stretch, looks at Madlock, decides to come to the plate, high with a fastball, ball 1. Garner hitting .467 with 7 hits and 4 runs batted in. And Bill backs out and looks at Joe Launette. 1-0 Baltimore. Bottom of the 5th inning, 1 out. Flanagan's fastball and a high drive into left field. Going back on the ball and left is Ayala. One-handed right at the 375 sign. And back to first goes Madlock.
Well, he don't need no defense out there the way he can go get that ball.
Ayala going back to the fence. And let's say Benny Ayala does not have the world's greatest reputation of being a slick outfielder, but he did his job. He got the jump and moved back to the sign and made his catch. 2 down, and now here is Lee Lacy. Lee Lacy has not had much to do in this World Series. He is 0 for 2, and thereby hangs a tail, another tail. The pinch hitters used by Earl Weaver in the World Series have been incredible. He has used 9 pinch hitters. 8 of the 9 have gotten on.
Yeah, that's, let's face it, that's good, but no man is that good that you can select 9 and have 8 times to get on.
That's not good. That's scary.
Yeah, that's a little bit frightful.
So Lacy at the plate. 2 down, 5th inning, 1-0 Baltimore. Flanagan ready and delivers, and the pitch is lifted down the left field line, hooking foul and out of play. Lacy can hit the ball out. And he has done it numerous times as a pinch hitter. 0-1 the count.
The thing I was surprised, Vince, I knew Lacy was a good runner, but I didn't realize that he was as fast as the Pirates have been telling me.
Lacy back up, 0-1. Flanagan set, looks at Madlock and decides to pay him a visit. So he has kept Madlock right there at the bag. What's interesting, too, is to see a man who's constantly looking at that runner at first, still throwing strikes.
Well, that's the difference. That's why those guys are winners.
0-1 the count to Lacy. Off speed, and it's in there. He just turned over that change, and it's strike 2.
The other thing, Vince, right here, Charlie's blocked off in a position. He can't run Madlock. He's got 2 outs, and his pinch hitter Lacy up. And if they run him and he's thrown out, Blyleven hits the Lacy.
Right, he's wasted Lacy, so he's tied up Madlock at the bag. 0-2. Flanagan delivers. Hard breaking ball hit to the hole. DeCinces slides, comes up with it, slips, falls, and has no play. base hit for Lacey. And that'll put runners at first and second. 2 out, and Omar Marino coming up. Dempsey going out to the mound to talk to Mike Flanagan. So Lacey battling on a hard breaking ball with 2 strikes and wedged it in the hole. Vicente battling the ball, skidded and fell down and had no play. Omar Marino has struck out and fouled out. He has 5 hits in 21 at-bats, 1 RBI. And the off-speed pitch in there for a strike.
I'm kind of getting to feel sorry for poor Omar, the way he keeps throwing that breaking ball.
Boy, he turns that thing over. You could open up wine with it. 0-1 the count. Flanagan again out of a stretch, and the left-handed deals. Breaking ball got him, then it's 0-2.
Now all he needs is one coming from first base.
That's right, and of course Flanagan has struck out 5 up to here. And for Marino, he must really feel like he's been pushed into a corner. Madlock at second, Lacey at first, 2 out on the 5th. Orioles 1, Pirates nothing. Marino just trying to hit that ball somewhere. And a strike 2, sidearm fastball got him swinging. Oh, what a pitch! A dozen strikeouts for Mike Flanagan. No runs, 2 hits. The Bucks lead 2. And at the end of 5, Orioles 1, Pirates nothing.
Here's the compromise. That's what saved my marriage. You see, I like to stay home and relax. Ethel likes to be on the go.
We're going to the 6th inning with Baltimore leading the Pirates 1-0. Mike Flanagan taking care of Omar Marino with 2 on and 2 out. At least for the moment, it appeared almost like a mismatch. He had such great stuff. It looked like Marino had a prayer. And when he gave him that sidearm fastball to strike him out, Marino disconsolately just walked away and taking his heart right out of him, at least with that at-bat. The question was, can Mike Flanagan pitch in the National League? Mike Flanagan can pitch in heaven and get him out.
Yeah, he's funny about those good pitches. They really don't care what it says, AL or NL.
Fly 11, who pitched so well in Game 2 of the series. John Robinson got the victory in that game. But Fly 11 in 6 innings allowed 2 earned runs and 5 hits, walked 2, made 85 pitches, so he was not worn out. And he comes back today now to try and keep Baltimore quiet and hope that his own hitters can catch up. Fly 11 against Baltimore in his career is 9-9. But he has always pitched well against them with an ERA of 2.4. And how do you spell Fly 11? With a pretty good curveball. And how do you spell the next hitter? It's Bumbry. Al Bumbry coming up to bat for Ayala. Then he'll stay in the game in center field. And Gary Renicky will move over to left. 1-0 Baltimore in the 6th inning.
This is what Earl really wants right here, because he gets a chance to get his premier center fielder in and move Renicky back over to left, and he's going to have a much better defensive club out there.
To go back in the books and look at Fly 11's start against Bumbry. Bumbry was 0 for 3 against him, a couple of ground balls, although Madlock made a super play to take a hit away from Bumbry. Into the windup. Right-handed delivers, and the first pitch is lifted into left field. Bill Robinson, angling to his left, has to back up a little bit now. Still going over to his left and makes the catch. So Bumbry, first ball swinging, flies to left field. 1 away. Now the switchers cross over and go the other way. Singleton and Murray will be hitting left-handed against Fly 11. Jim Rooker did exceptionally well. 5 innings, allowed just 1 run, 3 hits. Walked 2, struck out 2. A double by Renicky, a single by DeCinces to put runners at first and third, and Renicky scored while Dower was hitting into a double play. Singleton checks up, and the pitch is low, ball 1, 1-0. 1 out, top of the 6th. Orioles 1, Pirates nothing. Singleton has a look at a pitch low, ball 2, 2-0. The 2-0 pitch to Kenny is a chopper down to second base to the right side to Garner. He'll throw him out. So Singleton is disposed of, and with 2 down, Eddie Murray coming up. Suddenly thinking about this game and going back through the years, I remember in the 1959 World Series, and that's going back a ways, in the Coliseum in Los Angeles with the little fence, and they figured it was going to be a riot of runs. The final score was 1-0. The only run scored on a double play ball. The winning pitcher was Bob Shaw of the Chicago White Sox, and the loser was by the name of Sandy Koufax.
Yeah, well, with Koufax and Shaw, they could contain anybody.
Here's the first pitch now to Eddie Murray, and that's low and inside, ball 1, 1-0. 1 run and 3 hits for the Orioles. The Pirates, no runs, 4 hits. Eddie Murray hitting .250 in the Classic. 4 hits, 1 of them for the distance. And, of course, it was the changeup, the straight change that he hit against Blyleven. 1-0 to Eddie. Blyleven into the windup. Back he comes. Fastball straightened him up. And Eddie was in such a hurry to get out of there. Both hat and helmet went flying out in front of the plate. 2-0. The fellow who you worry about up at the plate, if you are watching hitters who hang over the plate, is Gary Renicky. Not only was he hit, as we mentioned, by Laren LeGros, he was hit 12 times this past year. Eddie Murray was hit twice. Here's the 2-0 pitch on the way. Fastball in there, 2-1. Of course, I guess the one fella, I've never seen a ball player hit as many times as he was. Remember Ron Hunt?
Yeah, but he used to try to get hit on purpose. In fact, we used to say, don't get the ball inside and late in the ball game because you're trying to get hit.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. Murray asking the time and backs out.
I never heard of a guy who was eager to get hit. I had one pitcher say, if he wants to get hit, well, I'll hit him good.
2-1 to count Eddie Murray. Bert Blyleven into the windup, and the 2-1 fastball is fouled away, and he would appear to be throwing hard.
Throwing real good. You know, he threw great over in Baltimore the other night. He's throwing real good again today.
The lights are on here at Three Rivers at this time, or almost 6 o'clock local time. There is still some sunshine washing the upper deck down the left field corner, but the rest of the ballpark is in shade. The lights have not really taken effect at this stage. 2-2 pitch, off speed, pulled to the right side, right under Garner's glove. He was looking for an AstroTurf hop, and I guess sometimes you can get spoiled on the rug.
Well, sometimes you get spoiled, yeah. If it hits one of those things, it'll flatten out or sometimes move on you sideways, and that ball just stayed down on him.
So Garner unable to go down and get it. Eddie Murray is aboard, and the batter will be Gary Renicky. In checking the scoreboard, as yet they have not made a ruling on the ground ball, whether they feel it should have been grabbed by Garner or not. So in a moment we'll see. There are 3 official scorers, majority rules, and now error will be charged to Phil Garner. Blyleven delivers, good breaking ball, over for a strike, 0-1. You know, it must be really hard to play this game in Renicky's spot. I don't care if they do have a face mask for him. After being hit in the mouth, 25 stitches, it's got to be awfully difficult to hang in there. The strike 1 pitch on the way, swung on and missed.
Well, I'll tell you what, you got to give a man credit when he'll stay in there after he's been hit that hard.
Fear must play a part in this game.
Certainly does play a part.
0-2 to Gary Renicky with 2 down. Eddie Murray at first. 1-0 Baltimore, top of the 6th inning. Blyleven out of a stretch. Murray doesn't go, and the pitch is swung on and missed. Curveball got him swinging, and that's it. The end of 5 1/2. The Orioles won, and the Pirates nothing.
You can learn a lot in the military, but sometimes stuff comes at you.
Bottom of the 6th inning. Vin Scully along with Sparky Anderson. Baltimore leading 1-0. The run came in the 5th inning. Gary Renicky doubled up the alley in left center field. Doug DeCinces tried to go to right field and eventually hit one over Garner's head for a base hit. Renicky going to third. With DeCinces breaking, Dower hit into a double play, and Gary Renicky scored. And that's the only run of the game up to here. Tim Foley, Dave Parker, and Bill Robinson. Al Bunbury is now in center. Gary Renicky goes to left. Denny Ayala out of the ball game, and Mike Flanagan ready. The pitch to Foley. He has a look, and it's low. Ball 1. no strikes to Foley. Flanagan back to him. Fastball, low, ball two. When I say Foley has a look, is there anybody who ever looked at a pitch like Pete Rose?
No, Pete looked it all the way back right into the catcher's mitt.
2-0, the count to Tim Foley. Flanagan ready, and the 2-0 pitch. In there, a high strike up around the letters, and Tim, who was hanging over the plate, had to jerk his head out there. 2-1. Flanagan has allowed 4 hits. He allowed 2 men to get to second base. The 2-1 pitch to Foley. Fastball low, ball 3. Flanagan, in the first game he pitched, in game 1, walked 1 batter who was Madlock. He has not walked anybody up to here, but he's working behind the Foley, 3-1. Mike into the windup, and the 3-1 pitch to Tim is a fastball high, ball 4. At first base with the walk, and now here comes Parker, Robinson, and Stargell, and what a battle we have here between Flanagan and Parker. The first time they met, Parker had 4 hits. Today, Flanagan has struck Parker out twice. And the Cobra music played in the background as Big Dave climbs in. 1-0 Baltimore, bottom of the 6th inning. Flanagan looks over at Foley. The pitch over the top, off speed, and Parker way out in front of it.
The thing I noticed different today, over in Baltimore, he threw Parker a lot of fastballs. Today he's throwing him a lot of breaking balls.
And after side-arming him so often, he came directly overhand with the off-speed pitch. 0-1. Flanagan ready. Fastball inside at the knuckles. You want to take a shot at it, you break your bat again.
Yeah, he could have more firewood on that pitch.
1-1 to Parker. 1 run, 3 hits for Baltimore. No runs, 4 hits for the Pirates. And the chant, "Let's go Bucks," coming after the rhythm music on the organ. The 1-1 fastball, whacked up the middle. Base hit. Foley to second and hold. And Bunbury gets it into Garcia. So he got a fastball down. I don't think he wanted to get it down and out over the plate as he did. That's the first time that Parker had a chance to really throw the head of the bat on the ball, and he singled sharply to center field.
Earl got started, and Martinez warming up again down there, Benny.
What is more interesting, not the fact that the Pirates have first and second and nobody out, it is the fact that 4 men have gotten on base, 3 hits and a walk in the last 1 inning plus. Whether that means that Flanagan is losing it or not remains to be seen. He got out of a runners at first and second situation in the 5th. Now he has 2 on and nobody out with Robinson, Stargell, and Madlock. Mike ready, the left-hander delivers, and Robinson is bunting. Flanagan gloves it, throws to Murray, and the runners move up. Chuck Tanner showing emotion, greeting Bill Robinson on his way back to the dugout as if to say, "I know you hate to bunt in the World Series, but that's the way to go." And now Earl Weaver going out to the mound to talk to Flanagan. First base open, 1 out. Stargell the batter, Madlock on deck. Stargell has flied to center and grounded to Rich Dowers. And Weaver, just a few words to Flanagan. Want to guess?
Well, he's telling me, you know how to pitch him now, and let's try to keep the ball. Try to strike him out here is what he's really telling Vince, because he said, "I don't want even to run across the plate. I want you to go with the good breaking stuff."
So the Baltimore infield back into normal depth. And here he comes, the heart and soul of the family, as they refer to the ball club here in Pittsburgh, Wilbur Stargell. 1-0 Baltimore. Bottom of the 6th. Flanagan looks down the barrel and Stargell waits. The fastball is outside, ball 1. It wasn't a wild fastball. Dempsey was hanging off the outside part of the plate. Flanagan hit his glove, but Stargell just wouldn't bite and go after it. Now the 1-0 pitch to Wilbur. Flanagan fastball inside and full foul, and the count 1-1. So the traditional pattern, in and out, but he threw him 2 fastballs.
Yeah, I'm surprised because he's got to try to strike Willie out. He's not going to strike him out with that fastball downstairs.
1-1 to Wilbur Stargell. Tim Foley, who walked, is at third. Dave Parker, who singled, is at second, and Stargell trying to pick him up. Flanagan from a stretch. Sidearm fastball low. Ball 2. 2-1. Well, as Stargell said earlier, he wanted to enjoy his goosebumps. I bet he's got him now.
Well, he loves these kind of situations though with the pressure.
2 balls, 1 strike. Wilbur pinwheeling the bat around and around. And the 2-1 over the top curveball. High drive into right center. Pumphrey is there. The runner's tag. Pumphrey for the catch. Foley will score. Parker to third. We're all tied up 1-1. A scoring fly ball, his 4th RBI in the World Series, and we're all even 1-1. Now with 2 outs, Dave Parker is a potential go-ahead run 90 feet away, and Bill Madlock trying to pick him up. Madlock is 2 for 2 against Flanagan. Mike looks down the barrel to get a sign. Left-hander ready, delivers off speed, but he missed inside under the hands. Ball 1. You wonder how much he wants of Madlock right now with a rookie catcher, Steve Nicosia, on deck.
Well, I hope he pitches him real careful because Nicosia is not Madlock.
1 ball and no strike. Flanagan delivers fastball, hit to center. He did, pitch to him. Base hit, and Parker scored. And I tell you, that doesn't make any sense.
No, he sets the breadwinner in a situation like that. I thought for sure the Flanagan pitched right around him.
Moves in the series, might just as well question that one out in the open. Here you have a guy who has won the National League batting championship 2 years in a row at 75 and 6. You know he's a solid hitter, and yet you pitch to him with a go-ahead run at third and 2 out. And he obliged with a base hit, and Pittsburgh leads 2-1. Now the young catcher, Nicosia, who is hitting 100, is at the plate. And he hits the 1-hopper, 2-hopper to Sensei. A long throw in the dirt, dug out by Murray. But the damage has been done. They pitched to Madlock, and they paid the bill for it. 2 runs, 2 hits, and a scoring fly ball. And at the end of 6, Pirates 2, Baltimore 1.
Glad it's up.
The total through 6 innings, the Pirates 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Baltimore 1 run, 3 hits, and no errors. All through the series, Earl Weaver has made some maneuvers that were at least questionable, and he has gotten away with it. And certainly yesterday, when he pitched, for instance, to Wilbur Stargell with 2 out and first base open, and he got away with it. And then Tim Stoddard was allowed to come up and hit with runners at second and third. He not only got away with that, Stoddard got a base hit to drive in a run. Maybe he's trying to force his luck now, because in the 6th it didn't make any sense at all to pitch to Madlock. He did, and Madlock singled in a go-ahead run. And then Nicosia, who was hitting 100, grounded out to end the inning. So we'll be going to the 7th, 2-1 Pittsburgh. And for Baltimore, the Sensei, Dower, and Dempsey. Bird Blyleven has been handed a lead, and it will be interesting now to see what he can do against the ball club he has faced many times in the past in his American League career. He made 22 starts against Baltimore down through the years. And now he is handed 2-1 lead in the 7th inning. The Sensei struck out and singled to right, 1 for 2. Of course, for Earl Weaver, he has had such a marvelous series. Every now and then you turn over the wrong cards, Sparky.
Sometimes you get so hot, I guess, that you feel you're burning.
Here's the pitch to Doug, and he fouls it away. 0-1. 2 runs on a half a dozen hits for the Pirates. 1 run, 3 hits for Baltimore. Top of the 7th inning. DeCinces back up to the plate. Blyleven leading sign, flashed out by Nicosia. Now the strike one pitch is a slow roller up along third, but it's going to kick foul. So DeCinces will have to come back and try it again. 0-2. So Bert Blyleven in relief of Jim Rooker, who wins 5. And in the last 2 innings, 4 hits against Flanagan, who looked so sharp for the first 4 innings. And now Blyleven, who pitched the 6th inning, now on his own in the 7th. Now, of course, in looking about the possibility of Tuesday, we know Jim Palmer is the pitcher, but it certainly won't be Blyleven. He is battling so that there will be a Tuesday as far as Pittsburgh's baseball life is concerned. 0-2 to Doug DeCinces. Bird into the windup, and the strike 2 pitch is swung on and missed. Strike 3, hard breaking ball away. 1 away. Rich Dower coming up. Blyleven is not accustomed to relieving, nor is anyone accustomed to the World Series. So he is making a relief appearance.
Yeah, I think in the World Series it doesn't really matter.
So Blyleven, who struck out Renicky to end the 6th, has 2 in a row. Dower has to look at a strike, and the count 0-1. On deck is Rick Dempsey. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Top of the 7th inning, 1 away. Blyleven waiting for Dower, who had backed out for the moment. Now Bert back with a fastball in there. He threw hard that time. 0-2. Dower popped up and hit into that double play, which is a big one, back in the 5th inning. But following the double play, there was another base hit. The strike 2 pitch, the ground ball to Foley, gloves it at the chest and throws him out. With 2 down, Rick Dempsey coming up. You would think at the start of the game, not just today, the prospect of Pittsburgh of winning the World Series would be tougher than climbing the Rockies.
That's one thing about it. It's like if they can win today, then you got till Tuesday. It gives them a chance to regroup again, and I still think if they win today, it's going 7.
The pitch over for a strike, 0-1. You know, getting up this morning, you look at it and you say, in order for the Pirates to stay alive, they have to beat Flanagan and Palmer, and then they get McGregor. The strike 1 pitch is foul back. 0-2. So Bert Blyleven throwing hard and taking advantage of the fact that the lights are not that much help at this time of day. It is 16 minutes after 6 Pittsburgh time. 0-2 the count. Dempsey waiting. Blyleven deals, fisted into center field for a base hit. In fact, it has a little slice on the end of it. It's going to right center. Marino finally comes up with it and going head first into second base is Dempsey with a double. And you know what? Flanagan is not coming up. Lee May will be the batter. Which, again, to get back to it, if Flanagan was losing it when Weaver went out to the hill, why was he allowed to pitch to Madlock? And Lee May in the on-deck circle now suddenly disappears and goes back in the dugout as Dempsey stands at second base. He hit the ball more on the fifth inside out, and like a runaway gyroscope, when it hit the rug, it just ran away from Omar Marino. May has gone in and out of the dugout in the on-deck circle. So we'll just wait and see.
I believe that's Pat Kelly, Ben.
Yeah, May was out there a moment ago. Now Kelly has come out. And now Kelly will be officially introduced. And as soon as he is, Chuck Tanner going out to the mound to talk to Blyleven. Lee May evidently would have been the hitter had Dempsey had a single. And as soon as he got the extra base, Lee turned around and went back in the dugout, and Kelly came out.
Right, Ben. To beat a single, they'd have sent the popper up there for one reason, to try to reach the seat and get them 2 runs. But this way, with a man on second, they're just looking for a base hit.
All right, Chuck Tanner has had his words with Blyleven. And Pat Kelly, left-hand hitting pinch hitter, coming out. And once again, Weaver looks to his pinch hitters to get him well. Yesterday, Lowenstein and Crowley, as we said, 8 of the 9 have reached first base. The only man who hasn't as a pinch hitter was when Lee May struck out. So Kelly is 1 for 1 as a pinch hitter. But he has made 2 appearances. He has a base hit and a walk. How are they going to pitch to him?
There's a lot of breaking stuff unless I'm, mistaken. I can't believe they'll throw him anything but good breaking stuff and high heaters.
The right side of the infield very deep. The tying run at second with Dempsey. Blyleven is going to go back to second, however, and Foley almost cleaned out, got his glove on the ball and dropped it and then recovered. Foley running behind Dempsey, and I think the ball struck Dempsey on the inside of the right leg and then hit Foley's glove.
And then Pittsburgh's got Grant Jackson warming up down their bullpen.
On deck, Kiko Garcia. Blyleven due to bat second when the Pirates hit in the bottom of the 7th. Bird ready, and the right-handed delivers. Breaking ball. Inside a check swing. No swing, says Bob Engel. 1 ball and no strikes. So Pat Kelly. His brother is accustomed to this time of year. Remember the great Leroy Kelly with the Cleveland Browns? So here is Pat of Baltimore. 1 ball and no strike. Blyleven deals off speed and a little up, ball 2, 2-0. With Grant Jackson throwing in the Pirate bullpen. Down in the Baltimore bullpen, is that Dennis Martinez?
No, that's Jim Palmer. And the reason I was
getting in some work?
I think so. I think the other man that was warming up down there was Stoddard was warming up, and Martinez. Maybe they decided that they've just had enough.
And there's a half swing for a strike called by plate umpire Jim McKeon. 2-1, the count of the pinch hitter Pat Kelly. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Top of the 7th inning with 2 outs. Dempsey the tying run at second base, and Kelly trying to pick him up. The outfield almost straight away, a gap in left center. Blyleven's fastball is foul back, and I mean the heat was high, 2-2. So Kelly, show you what kind of a game this is. He's blowing on his right hand, and that's the hand with the batting glove on it.
Yeah, he's got the batting glove on, and he's still blowing on it, so it must really be cold on the field.
That's the first time I've seen that. I remember the story of the golfer who hit the ball on the edge of the water and put his spiked shoe in the water and took the other shoe off. So he was blowing on his gloved hand. 2-2 to count to Pat Kelly. You talk about pressure. Blyleven out of a stretch. Bird ready. Here he comes. Breaking ball. Got him. Down he goes. In fact, that might have been a hard fastball, huh?
No, I thought it was just hard slider. I think you were right on the first one, then.
Yeah, it just jumped a little. I wasn't sure whether it was slider or the fastball that had a leg on it. But either way, Kelly strikes out. Dempsey stays at second base. And at the end of 6 1/2, Pirates 2, Orioles 1. Bottom of the 7th inning, Pirates 2 runs, 6 hits, 1 error. Baltimore 1 run, 4 hits, and no errors. And the big man comes out of the bullpen, Tim Stoddard. Stoddard, who got the win yesterday, worked 3 innings, allowed 3 hits and nothing else. And, of course, added to Pirates' discomfort with a base hit in his first at-bat as a professional. So Tim Stoddard, 6 feet 7 inches tall, and Pittsburgh leading 2-1. Bill Garner, Bert Blyleven, and Omar Marino. Mike Flanagan went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs and 6 hits. And I guess you'll never forget the fact that he pitched to Madlock, who singled in the go-ahead run with 2 outs. Flanagan made 72 pitches, 50 of them were strikes. Garner almost walked into the first pitch. It was inside, and he was looking away, ball 1. The attendance, 50,920, the 6th largest in Three Rivers history. Stoddard looked down to get a sign. Garner hit back to the box and slide to left against Flanagan. He nubbed 1 foul off to the left of the plate, 1-1. If you are Chuck Tanner, are you thinking eventually about getting another extra left-handed bat in there, or are you conscious of Chippy Martinez's presence down in the bullpen?
I think he's ahead right now. He's conscious of Chippy Martinez, and he'll go ahead. I think he'll stay just the way he is.
1-1 pitch, over for a strike, and the count 1-2. 2-1 Pittsburgh. Baltimore got a run in the 5th inning. Rennick Reineke doubled. DeCinces singled into third. And Reineke scored as Dower was hitting into a double play. The pitch to Garner high, ball two. And the Bucks in the sixth. Foley walked and Parker singled. Robinson sacrificed. Stargell fly ball picked up Foley. And then came the big decision. With Nicosia on deck, they pitched to Madlock. And twice the National League batting champion, he responded with a single to center to give Pittsburgh the lead. 2-2 pitch, and Garner takes low, ball three. 3-2 to Phil Garner. Opening up matters here in the seventh inning. Stoddard ready without a windup. The 3-2 pitch, a high chopper. It's going to be a tough play. Dodging is Garcia. Bare hand throws too late. That is why it is an absolute fine to hit fly balls when you play on AstroTurf.
Yeah, those fly balls are hard to handle.
You beat that ball down into the rug, and you got yourself a great chance of getting a base hit. And if you don't believe it, that's Garner. He just killed a worm in front of home plate, hit a high bouncer over the mound. It was impossible for Garcia to get him. Now Eddie Murray wants to talk to Rich Dower with Blyleven up, and of course the subject is the bunt. Murray coming to the plate, Dower covering first, and as the Pirates have said, and you've said since the start of the series, Baltimore works under a bunt situation as well as anybody.
Well, Murray will be on top of the solo defense.
Now, Stoddard will get a new ball to work with. Bert Blyleven trying to nudge Garner along. Blyleven is a very, very good bunter. In fact, he led Pittsburgh pitchers with 15 sacrifices this year. So you have a good bunter against a fine defensive squad. Another throw to first, and of course that's all part of the fun play to keep that runner tied up. Garner, in going back, shoveling some dirt into his pants, so timeout while he dusts off a little of the Pittsburgh real estate. Bottom of the seventh inning. Pirates 2, Orioles 1. Stoddard straddling the rubber for the moment. Now he's on. DeCinces in, and Murray ready to come off the bag. Do they time those throws? By that I mean, do they have some play whereby, okay, come over 5 times?
They have a time when they come over. Only thing here, I'm getting a little concerned here. I think Garner might be running. He's out on the rug, and I don't know what he's out on that rug for on a bunt situation.
Another throw, and this time Garner, who was on the rug, just did get back, and he's on there again. That right foot is on the AstroTurf. That's a big lead. Stoddard watching him, and the bunt instead is a pitch inside as Blyleven took it and backed off 1-0.
I can't believe Garner would get the lead Skitty in a bunt situation. He'd be picked off from where he's at.
It is the same lead, and here comes Ray Miller now to talk to Stoddard. It is the same lead, 2 feet on the rug. In other words, when you play on AstroTurf, they have cutout areas at home, first, second, and third. But when you leave the cutout area, the dirt itself, when you have both feet on the rug, that's the kind of a lead Moreno had yesterday when Sammy Stewart picked him off. And yet Garner, in what would appear to be a bunt situation, has that much of a lead. Maybe that's why Miller's out there talking to Stoddard.
Let's put on something because he's getting so far off of the bench. He's got a good chance if he makes a good move and keeps that ball down low to pick him off.
Sparky, can you see from the dugout? In other words, sitting up here, you can see him on the rug. I was wondering about the angle of the dugout.
Some of the dugouts, it depends on how the infield still.
Garner, 1 foot on the rug, but it's still a big lead. And here's the bunt. And Blyleven got it down. Stoddard's going to second and got him anyway. Are they something?
It's amazing. I tell you, they worked that play. And look at the lead he had and the jump, and they still got it.
And Stoddard, he threw a BB to Garcia down there at second base to get the fourth play. Well, they were right. Baltimore is putting on a clinic all during the series. All right, 1 out. A runner at first, Blyleven. Moreno the batter. And of course, Tanner not only loses the tying run or another go-ahead run at second, he has his pitcher at first base.
He gets his pitcher at first base, and I can't believe Murray right now. Murray's holding him off.
With 1 away, Omar Moreno coming up. And again, you marvel at how big league ball players will do the automatic thing when it doesn't make any sense at all. plate. Murray is holding the bag on Blyleven. Blyleven has as much of a chance to sign a deal as you have. Stoddard looks, comes to the plate, and Marino takes low, ball 1, 1-0. Murray now hollering over to Stoddard, hey, that's enough. I'm going off the bag.
But, you know, the only trouble about that, what if he'd have hit that pitch before?
That's right, it's too late. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Marino. Fastball high, ball 2.
George Sugar used to say, you know, he said, that guy's a day late and $1 short.
2-0, the count, Omar Marino. Are you a good card player, seriously?
Yes, I enjoy cards very much, and I play fairly good.
I would think that any manager would have to be a good card player.
I love Jim Rumble.
Here's the 2-0 pitch to Marino, and that's in there for a strike, 2-1. Do you dream about baseball seriously again? No.
That's one thing I don't do. To me, you do it at the ballpark, and when you leave what you didn't do, you better forget about it until tomorrow.
Here's the 2-1 pitch to Marino. Stoddard delivers, and it's hit foul off third, down the left field line out of play. I just wondered.
That's kind of crazy, Benny, because that's all I ever do is talk to my wife. Said, don't you ever talk anything else but baseball?
Because I'm sure you have no control over your dreams, and you spend your entire life consumed by baseball. I wondered, as a manager, if you had a recurring dream. I know ball players that have.
Well, my daughter says I snore so hard it's impossible for me to dream.
2-2 to Omar Marino. Stoddard ready. Looks at Blyleven, delivers a ripper foul. Down the left field line, and he broke his bat, and Marino will have to go get another stick. 2-2. Talking about pressure, I remember Bertie Tebbis years ago talked about a crucial game late in the year where it rained, and they were going to have to conclude the game the next day. And Johnny Temple was going to be the hitter. We'll say with the bases loaded, 2 out and 2 strikes when they stopped the game. And he had to spend the whole night sleeping and living with the situation. Come to the ballpark the next day, and after loosening up, inherit the situation. He said he had never seen a ball player go through such tremendous pressure, and Temple got a base hit.
I'm sure Temple was good because he gets 300 every year.
2-2 to count to Marino. Stoddard rubbing a wrinkle in the new ball. Timeout, so he got a chance to visit, but Marino got a new bat. Don Stanhouse now gets up from the Baltimore bullpen. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Marino. Ground ball to the left of short. Covered by Garcia. Deep down for fourth, and what a play by Chico.
He's not a bad shortstop.
I heard a wonderful line after Chico had his big day with the 4 hits, big night. I understand he came into the Baltimore clubhouse, and Mark Belanger went over and threw his arms around the man who someday will take his job, and Belanger said to Garcia, I told you could do it. Isn't that great?
Well, Mark's that way, and he'll help this kid a lot.
A big play at shortstop by Chico Garcia. However, it does take the pitcher off the base paths, leave Marino on base, and he's the hungriest base stealer around. 77 during the regular season, and nada, zilch in the series.
Well, not only that, but that ball went by Garcia on his left there. It went all the way to the fence on his afterthought.
Now they're hollering for him to go. Stoddard watching Marino, Foley waiting at the plate. And the first pitch to Tim, a strike. Moreno had 1 foot on the rug, but not 2. Remember, he was picked off yesterday. And remember, 2, the Bucks are 0 for 4 in stolen bases. Moreno on the dirt. Slowly waiting. Moreno 1 foot on the rug. Stoddard delivers. They pitch out. Moreno's not going. 1-1. 2 out. Bottom of the 7th inning. Pirates 2. Orioles 1. Down to Dempsey. Rick wigwagging a couple of times out. Big Tim is ready. And the other Tim Foley at the plate. Stoddard watching Marino and backs off the rug. If you're Canada, you turn him loose.
I turn him loose. Yes. If I was Stoddard again, I'd pitch out one more time.
1-1 to count to Foley. A throw to first. Marino diving back. Would you also put the cuffs on Foley? In other words, would you make him take 2 strikes?
Well, I think Jim can not swing the bat when he runs. You can see him run. What Charlie does with Marino, I believe that he's wide open all the time. I don't think Charlie has him off the sides. I think Marino's on his own.
I guess when you steal 77, you're entitled to it.
You better. If you steal that many, you better be on your own.
1-1 to count. Marino is on the rug now. Stoddard decides to throw him back. And he goes diving underneath the tag of Eddie Murray. One thing you keep driving back to the bag. The uniform's going to be at least 5 pounds heavier as you pick up the dirt. Marino brushing it off once more, and Stoddard watching him as Foley waits. Another look at Marino, another throw over there, and again diving back. 1-1, and Foley decides to take a hike and look at Joe Lynette break the tension around home plate. Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 1, bottom of the 7th. Baltimore scored in the 5th. The Pirates scored twice in the 6th. 1-1 to Foley. Another throw, and he throws it away. Marino gets up. Murray plays the can. Throws down to Garcia. Not in time. Tell you one thing, Marino was almost caught because Murray got a good bounce. The ball came up the top seat railing right back to him, and Garcia stood and almost gave him the catcher's decoy at the bag, but Marino was able to get under there.
I'll tell you, that's where second base is about as close as you're going to get.
Sure was. The inherent dodge to Stoddard. Now the 1-1 pitch to Foley. Stoddard delivers. Line drive over the head of Mallett, and it's going to go to the wall. Marino scores. Foley is raised to third. Relay, who's in there with a triple. Earl Weaver is making his way out to the mound. Jim Foley is standing at third, basking in that glow of having just tripled in the World Series to drive in a run. And the Pirates leading Baltimore 3-1. And this crowd of 50,920 really up and at 'em. Tim Stoddard will come out because Dave Parker will be coming up. And Earl Weaver wants his lefty to do Chippy Martinez. So you talk about the peaks and valleys of a big league ball player, the emotional roller coaster. Stoddard goes from the penthouse yesterday to the basement today.
And that's the way it is, and that's what I said today. This game here today, Pittsburgh has nothing to lose. They came out, they stayed with them. If they can win this ball game, it's going to go right down to the wire.
Well, as Chippy Martinez walks in from the pen, the Pirates leading Baltimore 3-1. Let's pause for a moment.
It's June 1778, and we're at the desperate battle of...
I'm gonna be a soldier like my dad when I grow up. I'm gonna be a Marine. Girls can't be Marines. Yeah, I can. Did you ever see one? Yeah, my mother. Maybe I'm gonna be an automobile mechanic too. Is your mother a mechanic? No, she's a regular technician. Girls can't be what you just said. Yeah, they can.
Yeah, they can. And if they're DOD personnel, they know that equal opportunity is department policy for everyone. And that means that DOD won't tolerate any discrimination because of sex, race, religion, or you name it.
My father says women have no business in the military. What is your father? Oh, he's a private first class. My mommy is a sergeant.
San Francisco Giants.
15,000 members of the customs team help my team. They can help you too. Before you travel overseas, read the free booklets, Know Before You Go, and GSP. They'll make coming home a lot easier.
Write U.S. Customs, 211 Main Street, San Francisco, California, 94105.
Parker to ground to third, and he struck out Scargill. So let's go back to Sparky Anderson and find out about Chippy's stuff.
He's average fastball, and that's all. He's right to the bottom. He's got a good curveball, and he does have a quick slider.
Chippy Martinez, during the course of the regular year, was 10-3. A fine earned run average of 2.8. So here comes another big-time sensation. Dave Parker and left-hander Chippy Martinez. Bunbury checking to see how the outfield is set. There's a gap in left center. Bunbury skating over towards right center. Foley down the line from third with 2 outs. And Parker waiting. 3-1 Pittsburgh in the 7th. Martinez over the top, and it's swung on and missed. And Parker staggered out in front of the plate. He swung so hard. 0-1. 3 runs, 8 hits for the Pirates. 1 run, 4 hits for Baltimore. The strike 1 pitch on the way. Fastball inside at the kneecap. 1-1. So breaking ball away. Crowd him with the hard stuff. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I guess we got another one. Guy hit 400. I didn't realize he had that many hits.
He has 2 RBIs, and of course the RBIs catch the eye. He has piled up 8 hits in the series. Parker hits the curveball up the alley in the left center. Foley will score, and the big man is into second, and he'll stop him there with a double. 4-1 Pittsburgh. Bill Robinson takes inside ball 1. So 4-1 Pirates. They've thrown deuces at Baltimore in the 6th and again here in the 7th. Tippy out of the stretch and the 1-0 pitch off speed, and he's low inside ball 2. The only thing of Pittsburgh, they have learned their lesson and learned it well. They have blown 2 leads to Baltimore at home.
Yeah, I think they've made up their mind now that they're going to really grind it in.
The 2-0 fastball is a one-hopper short hop by DeCince, and Doug throws him out on a good play at the other end. So DeCince not going too well, and I'm sure his back is bothering him. 2 more runs to the Bucs on 3 hits. At the end of 7, Pirates 4, Orioles 1.
Remember, ladies and gentlemen of the radio audience, whenever you say Blotto Coffee to your grocer, you're saying thank you to us.
That's a sample radio ad from language expert S.I. Hayakawa's book, Language in Thought and Action, followed by Mr. Hayakawa's analysis.
There is an implied promise that if the listener will show his gratitude by purchasing Blotto Coffee, the manufacturer will continue to provide him with programs such as precede this announcement.
Now, what is your analysis of that?
If we all go out and get Blotto, we'll continue to enjoy the radio.
What is this?
This is a radio commercial.
For what?
For radio.
For what?
Just to remind everyone who likes music or news or sports or emergency information or weather or whatever that when you turn your radio on, you got a good thing going.
I'm going.
Good thing. Where are you going?
Out to get Blotto.
See how it works? Isn't that beautiful?
They will go to the top of the order. That would mean Chico Garcia starting it off, then Bunbury and Singleton. Show you how tough it is for an outsider to try and figure out Earl Weaver's move. If you remember in the 3rd inning, we'll go back a bit. It was the 6th inning of yesterday's game. Steve Stone was pitching, and Dave Parker doubled. He was at second with 2 outs. Stargell was the batter, and yet Earl Weaver had right-hander Steve Stone pitch to Stargell, and he struck him out. Today, in the 7th inning, Parker doubles with 2 outs. Now you have left-hander Martinez on the mound, right-hander Robinson at the plate, and the same Stargell is on deck. But does Weaver walk Robinson and go after Stargell? Nope. He plays it the other way around, and he gets away with it as Robinson grounds out. And there are a lot of professional people, I'm telling you, around here, who are just shaking their heads, wondering about Weaver's next move. The pitch to Garcia, low, ball one. Win or lose, he certainly befuddles the opposition trying to figure him out. Garcia waiting. Now the 1-0 pitch on the way. Fast one from Blyleven and there for the strike.
Well, this Blyleven's really throwing good. I think he might be throwing a little harder today than he threw over in Baltimore.
Yeah, the only hesitation I have is the lighting here, whether it's actually making him appear faster than he is.
It could be because it's the twilight time right now.
1-1 pitch. A little low and outside. Ball two, 2-1.
The one thing that he cannot do, I don't care if Garcia hits the ball out of the stadium, he cannot walk a man. Now, the only thing he can get Baltimore going is a base on ball or leadoff.
2-1 the count, and Blyleven ready, delivers, and it's fouled off. 2-2. Garcia popped up, grounded out, and hit into a force play. Kiko is 0 for 3.
If you wonder who's warming up, I'll give you Mr. Jacoby and Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, that's what Tanner said yesterday after Jacoby was somewhat of a disappointment to Pittsburgh. Tanner said, didn't make any difference. I'll come right back with him tomorrow. 2-2 to Kiko Garcia. Blyleven checking into the windup in the 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball, and all of a sudden he's gone 3-2.
He has to split the middle with a fastball here and just get it right through the middle and make sure that Garcia hits the ball.
He's got to say to Garcia, who hit 5 home runs all year, here, take your best shot. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Fastball, and it's a ground ball as he lost his bat. Foley picks it up and throws him out. So the bat is caught in pieces. Garcia grounding out. 1 down. Al Bumbry coming up. Grounded out, walked, and tried to left. 0 for 2. I'm not one for statistics, and I'm really not one for history. I don't think you can learn much. There was a note in the paper, something about the fact that twice in World Series history, a team has been down 3-1 and came back, but it doesn't apply. It doesn't make any difference. It's a totally different cast of characters.
Don't mean a thing, then, because if this happened before and it hadn't happened before, it's always going to happen the first time, and it can happen again.
So here is Al Bumbry, the left-hand hitting center fielder. The fastball is high, ball one. They pull the corners up, so both Stargell and Madlock are looking bunt. However, Foley and Garner go back. On deck, Ken Singleton. 4-1 Pittsburgh. 8th inning, 1 out. Blyleven delivers, and he's a little low, ball 2. So he's pitching where he went 3-2 to Garcia and got him. And then he comes back and falls behind 2-0 to the left-hand hitting Al Bumbry.
That's when the coach has got to go out and tell him, you just put the middle here until somebody gets on.
Now the 2-0 pitch on the way. Blyleven delivers, a strike. 2-1. Bumbry backs out for the moment. Now Blyleven into the windup, and the 2-1 pitch low, and it goes right through, and it goes his legs all the way to the backstop. That's a little unsettling if you're a manager to see Blyleven go to a 3-ball count on the first 2 batters.
Well, that's what I say. It's so important. You have a rookie catcher there, but you have a veteran catcher. He goes out and tells him, now look, coach, you just split the middle here. I don't care what happens. They're going to hit the ball.
3-1 to Al Bumbry. Blyleven ready, delivers. Fastball down the pipe. I mean, split the middle from here to there. So 3-2 to Bumbry. But you can understand the concern of Tanner. If Bumbry gets the board, then suddenly he gets Singleton and Murray. The 3-2 pitch is high, and he's done it. He has walked a man, and now here come the big guns.
See, now, if Singleton was to get on, then Murray represents a tying run. The thing you must do is a man has to get on by a base hit. He cannot get on by a base on ball when you got a 4-1 lead going the 8th inning.
In the third game and the first one here, the Pirates led 3-0 and lost 8-4. In yesterday's game, the Pirates led 4-0 and lost 9-6. Here they are leading 4-1 today, but of course they have been knocked around twice with the lead. And here comes Singleton. Slide to center, struck out, grounded out. Bumbry held on by Stargell. Blyleven deals, ground ball off the glove of Blyleven, backhanded by Garner to Foley, over to Stargell, double play. That's the best play of the series right there. steps on the ball. It's up the middle. Instead, it is a 1-4-6-3 double play. And at the end of 7.5, Pirates 4, Orioles 1.
By the right call. Cut concrete brick in granite view. Where do you see it?
Great disasters of our time, or how radio could have changed history's course.
My name is General Custer, an ingenious general I. Although inclined to bluster, I'm an awfully decent guy. We left this mournful little bighorn with little information. We hadn't heard a discouraging word, so with no trepidation, we faced the whole Sioux nation. Say, mister, may I borrow your transistor?
And that was Sweet Stu who played for General Custer. General, there are Indians in your area, so cool it.
Now take this message to Captain Haynes.
Yes, sir.
The Sioux are all around us in a warlike attitude. Great Scott, my brave young soldiers, I think we're being sued. But forewarned is forearmed, and none of us shall be harmed. I alerted Captain Haynes to follow us with flame.
You accepted radio in 1876. Why not airplane? And you have to admit it's a dramatic way of demonstrating that radio is a good thing to have going for you. Not only for constant entertainment, but to protect you in times of emergency. And radio...
Play-by-play. At halftime, Brent Musburger will update you on all the Sunday pro games, recap the action of the first half. That's the Rams and the Dallas Cowboys Sunday night at 9 Eastern Time on most of the CBS radio network stations. The crowd still reacting to that marvelous double play. The deflection of the ball hit up the middle. It just went off Bly 11's glove. Then Garner made a dandy to backhand the ball. Fed Foley, who fired his charge over the double play. As you said, Sparky, that's the play of the series.
I think right there, Garner was serving notice that we're in this World Series. Don't count us out yet.
Wilbur Stargell will start it off. Stargell had the scoring fly ball in the sixth inning against Mike Flanagan to get the game even 1-1.
I've known Charlie Taylor too long, and anytime you ever think he's got a ball coming this one quick, you better forget it.
All right, here's Stargell, and Tippy Martinez gives him a strike, 0-1. In their only confrontation previously, Tippy struck Wilbur out. That was in Jim Palmer's game. The strike one pitch, fastball low, 1-1. So the Orioles, who had things going swimmingly, are suddenly 3 outs away from a loss. And the 1-1 curveball is hung and left into right field. Base hit. Boy, that looked like an apple on a tree, and Wilbur tried to break it.
Well, in 5 games, I think they've got 57 hits now, so I don't think there's any problem as far as them hitting the ball or more pitching. It's just been a case of they haven't played good defensive baseball about it.
And now Earl Weaver, whose magic has disappeared at least for the day, and Weaver making his way out to the mound. And he is gesturing to the pen. That's going to be all for Tippy Martinez. Bill Madlock is coming up. And I guess Bill has made a believer of Weaver. Not that he didn't believe before, but he pitched to him once too often in this series. And now he's going to make a change.
Well, we're a little lucky. We get to see, I, for 9 years, got to see National League players, guys like Stargell, Madlock, and them. You really learn to respect them just playing in the league long enough when they burned you so many times.
You made a remark the other day off the air, and it was kind of interesting. You said that if Baltimore and Pittsburgh played each other during the course of a year, they'd probably wind up half and half.
Well, if you took the 5 top clubs in the National League and played against the 5 top clubs in the American League, you would end up with a schedule of 152 games, 500, and maybe just a very few either way on either side.
Everything seems to work in cycles. For years, the American League dominated the National League. Suddenly, it appeared that the National League had made a big move. They were winning, among other things, the All-Star game, and it gave the National League a picture of dominance. And most people who really studied the game closely, certainly sociologists claim, that the American League was a little late in coming up with the black players. But that once the American League began to sign black players, suddenly, not only are the leagues balanced, but the American League, although still losing in the All-Star game, the American League begins to dominate the World Series. They have parity, And you had said that some of the better young ball players are now coming in the American League.
The one thing that I did notice when I was over there 3.5 months, I noticed one thing, that all the good-looking young players, the American League has really corralled a group. They've probably got 2 or 3 squads deep in great young players that in the next 2 or 3 years we're going to hear so much about.
Don Stanhouse is coming in. Now, let me ask you, I guess there isn't a mop-up pitcher on the staff for Baltimore, but here's a man all year long he's brought in when Baltimore is right on the edge of win or lose, and yet he comes in the bottom of the 8th, down by 3. Are you a little surprised?
No, Vince, because they have to model off. You know, I think that he would like to have him work today because if Stanhouse has 2 or 3 days off, he doesn't have near the good stuff, so he's going to let him go ahead and work today. He'll only work 1 inning if they don't come up in the 9th inning and score some runs, so then he'll have to model off and be ready.
Stanhouse worked 1 inning in the Jim Palmer game, which will be World Series game number 2 on the 11th. So it's a case of getting a little work to keep him sharp for one of those do or die situations that will possibly come up on Tuesday and or Wednesday.
Well, I'm getting a very funny feeling. I think that this thing might end up on Wednesday.
I tell you, coming into this game today, so many things appeared to be in Baltimore's favor that you began to look at it with a jaundiced eye, thinking, wait a minute, it's too good to be true for the Orioles.
Well, I don't want to give Charlie, all that credit and keep talking, but I just surrounded room 2 years with him. I know his positive thinking. The man just is a fighter, and for Baltimore to win that last game, the 4th one, it's going to be the toughest game they won in 79.
Well, here is Bill Madlock. Madlock, 3 for 3, hitting .471. And Don Stanhouse with the runner going delivered to Looper to center, base hit. And Stargell keeps on going to third. And Madlock now comes up with his 4th hit.
That's the Pirates. That's the way Charlie plays all year. That's the thing they haven't been able to do early in the series. They were cut off by Dempsey. And now I think he's going to show them, look at boys, we're going to loosen this game up, and we're going to show them how we play.
Well, here comes Steve Nicosia. In other words, Chuck Tanner, as Sparky mentioned, is not going to switch his lineup. He's not going to send up the left-hand hitting catcher. He's staying with young Steve.
And I think you're going to see Matlock take off here in the first couple pitches.
So with Stargell going, they played hit and run. And this crowd, like the Pirates themselves, coming to life. Nicosia flied to left, struck out, and grounded out. The Pirates 4 runs, 11 hits. Baltimore 1 run, 4 hits.
Vince, that old saying, the sun don't shine on the same dog every day.
Not every day. Stanhouse, right foot on the rubber, getting a sign. Nicosia waiting. Stanhouse set above the belt. Very deliberate. Now the pitch to Nicosia, a little high, ball 1, 1-0. Will the Stargell at third. Bill Madlock at first. Nobody out. The infield, DeCince is up near the bag, so they're about halfway. Stargell on a ground ball would be committed to come to the plate to make them go after him and stay out of the double play. But Baltimore halfway with the infield. And now Nicosia backs out for the moment. Baltimore, of course, in dire straits. They can't afford to give up anything. They only have 3 outs left offensively. 4-1 Pittsburgh. Stanhouse out of the stretch. The right-hander's 1-0 pitch. Nicosia takes the strike on the inside corner. 1-1.
Now you watch. 1-1. Charlie loves to run him. He's been moving him a little bit now, and I look for him to start running him.
All right, we'll watch Madlock. We told you he's stolen 32 during the year. Stargell right at the bag, and Joe Lynette comes over to say something to Big Wilbur. On deck, Phil Garner. 1-1. 4-1 Pirates, and they're looking for more. Murray, Reineke, and DeCince due up in the 9th inning for the Birds. Pom-poms are very much on the scene today. Pittsburgh in high spirits. It was a dead count last night, but they've come back today. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Steve Nicosia. Stanhouse, high eyeballing both runners. The pitch to Nicosia down and away. Let's pause 5 seconds. The stations to identify themselves on the CBS Radio Network. Nicosia. Don Stanhouse, the fourth Baltimore pitcher. It's been Flanagan, followed by Stoddard, Chippy Martinez, and now Stanhouse. Don ready and checking. The 2-1 pitch. Nicosia fouls it away, off to the right, out of play. Well back into the lower deck. 50,920 taking this one in. Nicosia again backs out looking at Lynette. Well, it's a question now. You're certainly not looking pitch out, are you, 2-2? So this might be a spot to put on a play, or do you patiently wait to 3-2 and then take the run and hit?
I'm going to say now it's always going to wait for 3-2.
Matlock held on by Eddie Murray. Again, Lynette over to whisper something to Stark. 2-2 to Steve Nicosia. Stanhouse on the rubber, off the rubber, back on again. On Matlock, his right foot is on the rug. Stargell, hands on his hips like an observer, walking casually down the line at third. Matlock stays, the pitch is high. So now Tanner has the play that he wanted. He doesn't have to worry about a pitch out. He can have Matlock going on a run and hit play.
Yes, now he's more relaxed. He doesn't have to worry about anything.
Again, as we explained, remember the difference, the hit and run and the run and hit. Hit and run, the batter is obligated to swing at anything. Run and hit, naturally, he can take a bad pitch and ball 4. So this is run and hit. Matlock at first, Stargell at third, Nicosia waiting. Stanhouse ready. There goes Matlock, and the pitch fouled away. 3-2. Well, among other things, if the series is actually warming up, maybe the weather is warming up too. It started at 46 degrees, and actually it's not bad at all in the ballpark.
And best I understand this next week it's supposed to warm up here.
Good, we'll take that.
So all you people out in Palm Springs and the Bermudas and Hawaii, you can just, we'll thumb our nails at you.
Yeah, 3-2. Matlock off the bag. Stargell down from third. Nobody out. Matlock was going last time. He sure figures to go now. Stanhouse checking. Still checking. There he goes. Nicosia pops it in the air, foul. Coming over is Dempsey, hollering for Murray to go back to the bag, and then Dempsey turns and comes back, and DeCince alertly covered the plate. So Rick Dempsey was like a traffic cop going after that foul ball. Garner coming up. Garner hit back to the box, slide to left, and singled when he beat the ball down on the dirt and it kangarooed over the mound. Chico Garcia never had a play.
You know, I love to see two pros. I just watched the Sensei start going. The Sensei took his glove and kind of give Willie a little pat behind the end, and they were just kind of chit-chatting a little. The two pros, that's the way it's all about. You come out here battle on the field, but you're professional.
What was it Wilbur Stargell said? When the man said go out, he said go out and play ball, not work ball. So here's Garner. 1 out, 8th inning, 4-1 Pittsburgh. Now, if they weren't sure about a hit-and-run play with Nicosia, they might very much have a play in the works with Garner. The veteran hitter hitting .471 in the series. Matlock holds, and Garner pulls foul outside of third and down the line. Lylevin on deck. 0-1 the count. Garner checking with Joe Lynette. You know, if Garner is at the plate, if Matlock steals, well, then they have a place to put Garner, and they go after the pitcher. So we'll see just how the outcome of this is. Matlock takes his lead. There's 1 out. Stargell from third. 4-1 Pittsburgh, 8th inning. Stanhouse, right foot on the rubber, set at the belt. The strike 1 pitch. Swung on, a looper into left field, over a loop pitcher knows when you're going good, everything goes your way, including that double play ball. And when things are going badly, everything you do turns into mud.
Well, that's why, Vince, I said yesterday, when you talk about two ball clubs, you reach the World Series no matter what World Series it was, 1909 or 1979. You don't get there unless you're a good team. Both of these teams are good. It's just that some days the sun shines a little better on one club.
So now Stanhouse has been welcomed to the club, a run over. Stanhouse came in to pitch to Madlock, and he singled. So Stanhouse has now given up a couple of hits. Stargell, who opened up the inning with the base hit, that run charged to Chippy Martinez. Now here's Blyleven, and of course the Birds are looking bunt.
Check Murray out. He'll be down his throat. He's coming in now.
Murray ready. Here he comes. But then he backs off, and Blyleven fouls it away. Only DeCinces came, and Murray went back to the bag.
Okay, what they do there is the play where Murray will come in, show you he's charged. DeCinces then is not coming in from the other side. So what he did, he charged in reverse while DeCinces came up on the other corner.
And, of course, all you have to do is give someone something else to think about. Now suddenly Blyleven is not only trying to punt, he's trying to think who's coming and who isn't.
And which way am I going to
right? 0-1 the count. Sammy Stewart is going in the Baltimore pen. DeCinces at the bag at third. Murray well in on the rug. Blyleven, as we mentioned, an excellent bunter, even though they got his bunt and turned it into a force in the seventh. He gets it down. Murray looked at third, but then went to first. He wanted to go over there, but he couldn't do it.
Murray had him at third, but I think he got hung up his glove. But you see there how they worked that play? That time DeCinces started in, went back to the bag, and Murray was right on top of him.
But the bunt worked, which is all that counts as far as Baltimore and Pittsburgh are concerned. Baltimore now in a real jam. It is 5-1 Pittsburgh, bottom of the eighth, first base open. And a fellow who has been somewhat of a goat in this series, Omar Marino at the plate, and they will take the bat away from him, and they'll try Tim Foley. So with first base open, Weaver decides he doesn't want Marino. He'll have Stanhouse pitch against the right-hand hitting Tim Foley. Marino hitting only .217. He has struck out twice today, but in this instance, they're not going to risk another time. So the chant begins. Foley. And it was Foley who walked and scored the tying run in the sixth, and it was Foley who tripled in a run in the seventh. And here he comes with the bases loaded, two out, and listen to the crowd. To go over the signs again. And Don pitching out of a stretch. Madlock fakes down the line from third. Now Stanhouse ready. Foley waiting to pitch to Tim is taken for a strike. 0-1. When Baltimore bats in the ninth inning, it'll be Eddie Murray, Gary Reineke, and Gus DeCinces. On deck for Pittsburgh, Dave Parker. 0-1 to Tim Foley. Madlock, Garner, and Marino taking their lead with two outs. Stanhouse ready. Now the strike one pitch on the way. Outside, 1-1. A magnificent pitching duel for 4 innings. Baltimore got a run in the fifth. And from the bottom of the sixth inning on, it has been all Pittsburgh.
Well, I think, Vince, you got to really give Brooks credit. He had to start today, not knowing he was going after the ball game yesterday, and he held Flanagan right in there, giving only 1 run for 5 innings. He did everything that Charlie would want him to do.
So Jim Rooker, one of the unsung heroes right now, is the Pirates battling for the alive, leading 5-1 in the 8th inning. Foley choking up on the bat as he always does. 1-1. delivers, and a breaking ball is low, ball 2. The Pirates, with 5 runs today, have scored 22 runs on 60 hits. Baltimore, with 1 run today, has scored 25 runs on only 41 hits. And yet, Baltimore leading 3 games to 1. 2-1 to Foley. Stanhouse delivers. Foley fouls it back out of play. 2-2. They used to say if somebody would get into an argument, the other guy would say, "I'd like to beat your brains out." And the other fellow said, "You try, you better bring your lunch." Well, you know, when Pittsburgh and Baltimore plays, you had better bring your lunch and maybe your dinner.
I said to you earlier, I said, well, Vince, this looks like it's going to be a quick game for a change. But no, we'll drag it out right now. We're 3-11.
They put on some show. All right, Foley waiting 2-2. Madlock at third, Garner at second, Moreno at first with 2 outs. 1 run over, 5-1 Pirates. Foley waiting. Stanhouse set just above the belt. The 2-2 pitch. Ground ball over the mound behind the bag. Garcia kicks it. Everybody safe. 2 runs will score. Garcia did a good job to get there, but he couldn't come up with it cleanly on the dead run. And the Pirates, who love to run, did just that. Madlock scored from third, but with 2 outs, Garner was able to score as well. It's a 3-run 8th inning, and the Pirates lead 7-1. So Foley, with a single behind second base, picks up 2 runs batted in. And now here is Dave Parker. And boy, is it all Pittsburgh.
I'm going to go way out in the wind, but this is really going out in the wind. I think I will see you at the night too, Steve.
Okay. Yeah, that's some limb. 7 runs, 13 hits for the Bucks. A bluff by Stanhouse. Moreno at second. 2 in the 6th. 2 in the 7th and 3 in the 8th. Stanhouse, right foot on the rubber. Parker waiting. Now Don, a look at the runners. Veteran right-hander unflustered by the turn of events. Takes plenty of time, and now to pitch to Parker, fouled away. And Dave, I think, was trying to hit that in the river.
Yeah, I think Dave said, let's just make it an even 10.
0-1. Let me ask you another question as a manager. If Pittsburgh does come back and win today, and it looks like they will, would you rather play tomorrow rather than have a day off thinking that you'd build up some momentum if you're Charlie Tanner?
No, I think Charlie needs the day off for pitching now because he has to, I imagine, looks like you have to can to learn.
0-1, the count to Parker. Stanhouse ready on the strike 1 pitch high, 1-1.
Oh, you know who he should come back with though, Ben? Robinson. This would be perfect for Don Robinson.
Yeah, that's strike 2. Yeah, you realize with the Bucks with 13 hits today, they have 39 hits in the 3 games, and they've lost 2 of the 3. 1-1 to Dave Parker. Stanhouse out of a stretch. A pickoff play and a throw to Garcia, not in time. Moreno dives and back to the bag. But has singled and doubled since. Ever since that turn of events in the 6th inning, the whole afternoon has changed. And now, of course, in the evening. 1-1 to Parker. Stanhouse ready. The right-hander delivers inside. Ball 2, 2-1. Quotes are interesting. listening in the aftermath, yesterday Garner was saying, I get the feeling there's somebody upstairs pointing. That'll be a base hit for you. That'll be an out for you. And you know, watching this game today, whoever's doing that pointing has been pointing in Pittsburgh's favor. There's a 2-1 pitch to Dave Parker. It is a throw to first, and it hits the runner and goes into the stands, and they move up, and somebody pointed again.
Yeah, it's a little funny today, man. Everything now that Baltimore tried the last year, it just backfired against them. So it just proves that old saying, you know, good clubs can make mistakes just like anybody else.
You know, yesterday we were talking about the smart base runner who keeps his helmet on. Tim Foley can thank his lucky stars. He had his batting helmet on. Because Stanhouse bluffed the throw to second, fired a BB to first, and it hit Foley right in the head. And it bounced all the way into the stands. An error charge to Stanhouse, and Foley is kind of rubbing his head, but he's okay.
Well, you know the players now, when they get in the clubhouse after the game, they say, we won't worry as long as they hit you in the head.
Yes, 2-1, they're going to walk Parker now with first base open. By Dempsey. Boy, they are really keeping Marino in this game. If he gathers wool at all, they'll hammer him.
Yeah, and you know, Parker was mad. He threw his bat down. He said, man, it's 7-1, 2-out pitch to me.
So the bases are loaded. 2 outs, 3 runs over. 7-1 Pittsburgh. And Bill Robinson coming up. The 9th man to bat in the inning. Robinson at the plate. Wilbur Stargell on deck. Don Stanhouse ready and delivers, and very high. Almost threw that away. 4-1. Stanhouse, a little upset with himself, takes a walk behind the mound out on the rug. Dave Parker, yeah.
I was going to say, it's a little tough to shortstop third base for Baltimore right now with Parker leading off. Of course, he's still feel a little bit.
They are deep. Chico is right on the edge of the infield. Robinson pops it up. Coming in is DeCinces, the third baseman, with 2 out. Doug waiting, makes the catch. 3 runs in the bank for the Bucs. And at the end of 8, the Pirates 7 and Baltimore 1.
Now, True Value Hardware Stores want to give you the facts.
This is Esther Peterson, President Carter's Special Assistant for Consumer Affairs. I have a tip for you on coping with inflation in food prices. The prices of many farm products, such as produce and meat, move up and down. Some changes are seasonal. Most fresh fruits and vegetables cost less in the summer. Other changes happen because of specific events, like the frost in Brazil, which caused coffee prices to go so high. If you pay attention to these changes, you may be able to shift your purchases. For example, all meat prices don't rise and fall together. Sometimes chicken is a bargain, sometimes beef. Watching these changes can save you money. For a free copy of a consumer's shopping list of inflation-fighting ideas, write inflation. Pueblo, Colorado, 81009. That's inflation. Pueblo, Colorado, 81009. It can help you save money.
This has been a great year for baseball. Lou Brock climaxed his historic career, joining the Elite 3000 Hit Club. Carl Yastrzemski became the first player in American League history to get both 400 home runs and 3,000 hits. Pete Rose broke 200 hits again this year for a record 10th time. And how about those down-to-the-wire pennant races? No doubt about it. Baseball fever was rampant throughout the land in '79. A record 43 million fans enjoyed Major League Baseball at the ballpark. Baseball fever. Aren't you glad you caught it? The preceding has been brought to you on behalf of Major League Baseball. made by Sister Sledge. We are the family. And boy, was the family ever present and accounted for today.
The old saying, winners laugh, so try and yell deal.
Well, for Baltimore, they can be consoled with a couple of things. Even if they lose today, A, they're going home and they're so tough at home. And B, they are still leading in the series. 3 games to 2.
And the old famous statement like this, we're not worried because we're still leading 3-2.
All right, it'll be Bert Lilevitt pitching to Eddie Murray here in the 9th inning. And the fastball lifted to left center field. Moreno's calling that he has the play, and Omar has the ball. One away. A reminder, and we're not taking anything away from the ability of the Orioles to come back. But let us just say that Game 6 on Baltimore Tuesday, airtime 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the CBS Radio Network. Gary Reineke popped up, doubled, and struck out. He scored the only Oriole run back in the 5th inning. We've had 2 different games here today. It's Lilevitt. The first 5 innings, a very tough pitching duel. Baltimore with a slight edge, leading 1-0. And then the next 4, all Pittsburgh.
You know, Vince, I just kind of, I guess, maybe a little sentimental, but having a tragedy what happened to Starter this morning and being able to control himself and manage the team today is a great tribute to him.
Little pop line to shallow left. Foley angling out. He's got it. And in case you were not with us at the start of the game, Chuck Tanner, the manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, lost his mother this morning. His mother passed away, 70 years old. And you can imagine the emotional wrench for Chuck Tanner as he stood with his team and the Baltimore Orioles for a moment of silence. It was enough to break your heart. But that was life, and now he had to just move on and do his job. And suddenly, it is 7-1 Pittsburgh. And with 2 out in the 9th inning, the batter is Dutch Sensei, and we are an out away from going back to the crab cake of Baltimore.
Yes, we will be in Baltimore Tuesday.
Bert Lilevitt into the windup. Sensei hits a high drive in the left field, but it's looking down the line, foul and out of play. The pitchers of record in this game are Bert Lilevitt and Mike Flanagan. Because Flanagan pitched to Matlock, who singled in the go-ahead run, and Pittsburgh has never been hitter. Strike 1 pitch. Fouled away. 0-2. And I'll tell you what, they've been waiting for 3 days to really make some noise here. And on the last out, your radio, even if it's in a car, is going to be dancing a little bit.
Well, I believe Lilevitt's getting ready for that real good hook here.
And listen now, the crowd on its feet. 0-2 to Dutch Sensei. This will be the last chance for the crowd to cheer in 79. The strike 2 pitch. Low and away. Ball 1. And of course then they go back to Memorial Stadium for that absolutely remarkable, fantastic Baltimore Orioles crowd. They are, I tell you what, I love baseball, and yet they have a little more fight to it.
Yeah, Wildfield will really be Tuesday.
They're sensational. That'll be Tuesday at Memorial Stadium. But right now, this big crowd at Three Rivers. Here's the 1-2 pitch to the Sensei. Fouled away. 7 runs, 13 hits, 1 error for the Pirates. 1 run, 4 hits, 2 errors for the Orioles. 1 and 2 to Sensei, 2 out of the 9th. Baltimore has had just 1 hit since the 5th inning. I mean, it's just in 2 different games. The 1-2 pitch. Line to left field. Robinson coming up. It's going to land in front of him for a base hit. And Bill just runs it back into the shortstop. So DeCince refuses to go quietly. He hangs in there and singles to left. And the batter is due up will be Dower, and he's not coming up. John Lowenstein coming off the bench to hit. That is only the 5th hit for Baltimore. And it is only the 2nd hit since the 5th inning. So Lilevitt really shut down Baltimore Powers attacks. Bird out of the stretch. And delivers high, ball one, 1-0. Lowenstein, who had that big double with the bases loaded yesterday, and then Terry Crowley duplicated it. He stroked it into right field. Base hit, tricky hop, and a nice play by Parker. That thing almost went to the wall. So with 2 outs, the Birds doing what they always do. They go down scratching. And with 2 outs, single by Sensei and Lowenstein, and they'll go to the bench again. Terry Crowley will be coming up.
They might set a record in this series for successful pinch hits.
Let's see now. They were 8 out of 9 reaching first base. Kelly struck out, so that made it 8 out of 10. Now Lowenstein has just singled. 9 of the 11 pinch hitters have reached first base.
I can't believe nobody's had that kind of luck.
So here's Terry Crowley. Terry hitting for Dempsey, and Dempsey was 2 for 3. Lee May is on deck. Blyleven delivers on the outside corner for a strike. 0-1. Vicente at second. Lowenstein at first. Crowley fouls it off. 0-2. He beat it down on his foot. 0-2 the count. And again, the Pirates are 1 strike away from going back to Baltimore. Bert Blyleven in his career 9-9. But now in the National League and facing Baltimore, trying to get over the 500 mark against the Birds. He's a strike away from it. Terry, who had the key double against Kent Jacoby yesterday after John Lowenstein had doubled in a couple. Up there now, 0-2. Ball game almost at the 3-hour mark again. Blyleven out of the stretch to look at the runners. And the strike 2 pitch is popped in the air. Bill Robinson says he has it. Listen to this crowd. He's got it.